お父さんも大変だね。
Godzilla versus his enemies of destruction, the king of all monsters against the baddest beasts of all time, Rodan, Mothra, Ghidra, Mecha-Ghidra, and Mecha-Godzilla. It's an eye-flashing, tail-whipping, building-bashing Godzilla war, and only the strong survive. Godzilla rules.
Remocon Godzilla 出現。歩く、泣く、光る。メーサー戦車がコントローラー。バンダイリモコン電動怪獣王ゴジラ。
こっちこっち。ゴジラが今日の夜だから。まだ来てない。待って。
やっぱりゴジラも京都が大好き。
I love 京都銀行。
Today on Collectible Monsters, we've got Volume 3 of our Collector Conundrums. We'll be discussing the theory of collection evolution. Ikimashou! Why, hello and welcome to Collectible Monsters, episode 56. We are here live on YouTube and Facebook and all sorts of cool stuff that we're going to be talking about this episode. It's our third volume of Collector Conundrums today, and we are talking specifically about how our collections have evolved over our times as collectors, and specifically, like, how do you do that, essentially. I am sitting here with not just my regular co-hosts, but unfortunately, Christine is not with us today, and that is because she is in San Francisco at Godzilla Fest. Leslie's psyched. So psyched for Godzilla Fest, because we're going to get a live report from Christine in about an hour, but before that, you can see right here, we have a new face joining us today. That's because we've got a little mini series that we're doing where we're inviting some of our monster collectors to join us on screen to be a co-host for the episode. And we have with us Mr. Greg Benton. I'm going to go ahead and blow you up right now. And we are officially introducing Greg. How's it going, man? Glad to have you with us. And please tell us a little bit about your... Oh, wait. Before you get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, but also this is the intro to Show It and Tell.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kyle. Thanks for that warm introduction. Thank you, Collect All Monsters family, for inviting me here today. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. I love the show. This is really exciting for me to be a part of this today. So awesome. I just can't wait to start talking about Godzilla and stuff. All right, friends. Well, I am Greg Benton. That is me. My favorite Toho Kaiju film is Matango, hence my handle of Matang Greg down there. Yeah, I love me some Matango, but I've been in this Godzilla fandom since the late 1980s. I vividly remember the first Godzilla film I ever saw, Invasion of Astro Monster. My life was rocked and my life was changed. And for about the next 10 years, every supermarket, shopping mall, bookstore, record store, any kind of store that sold VHS tapes, I was bugging my mom to let me run around and find stuff. And if I did, then I was bugging my mom to buy it for me. And luckily, my mom would oblige and she would buy me those tapes. And so, especially being that this is Showa and Tell, I am a Showa guy through and through. That's what I started with. That's what I go to for my comfort food for my soul. I do love Heisei. I love Millennium. I even like Monsterverse in shades. But Showa is my bread and butter, without a doubt. As you can see right behind me, I've got some Showa poster action going on.
Fantastic.
So, wow, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Showa's the best. I don't care what anybody says. Showa is the best. It features astronaut Glenn and Fuji. All right, enough said. So, yeah, okay, Collector Conundrums. This is a cool episode to come in on because my collection, I'm assuming much as your guys's and everybody in the chats, has gone through some phases of evolution. I think it's kind of settled into what I want it to be, but I'm still faced with many a conundrum when it comes to these fabulous vinyl toys. And specifically where to put them. But anyways, I have some recent acquisitions and I got a little smattering here. I love the word smattering. So at G-Fest, I was able to pick up the Bullmark Kaiser Ghidorah and God, I fell in love with that thing. I absolutely fell in love with it. And so I did some research and I went on Club Tokyo and I wanted to find out if Marmot had made any more of that Bullmark line from the early 2000s, and lo and behold, they did. They made a Godzilla 2004 Bullmark, and it's kind of in the style of the Jumbosaurus. And this was like a week after I got home from G-Fest. I was like, hey, honey, hey, babe, I kind of bought this really big Godzilla figure. And she's like, you were just at Godzilla Fest. I'm like, they didn't have this. They didn't have it there, and I didn't know it existed. And now that I do, I kind of had to buy it. So this is the 2004 Bullmark Final Wars Goji, Final Goji. And yeah, he is big and chonky and he's goofy looking. I love a goofy toy. I don't
think I've ever seen anybody have like
me neither.
No one's shown that off before the show, at least.
It's so weird. And as soon as I got it, I knew I made a good choice. I was like, yes, this is a keeper. It is significantly larger than the Kaiser Ghidorah. So they don't really scale. I mean, I guess when we scale them next to each other, it's the one time other than GMK where Godzilla's far larger than Ghidorah. But you got your Bullmark stamp on the foot.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a figure you don't see every day. Like Kyle said, I've never seen anybody show that off before. I've seen it in pictures, but I've never seen it in person.
Yeah,
well, I'm still not seeing it in person, but you know what I mean.
It's big. It's like a 30 centimeter figure. It's quite large. So I like it a lot.
Very nice.
Now, the next two, these are very special to me. Not that a vinyl figure or Sofubi isn't special, but these have a little bit more significance. So coming back from G-Fest, Charles Dunphy, another fan in the community, a wonderful fan in the community, he was actually having his bachelor party in Denver and he was trying to get airfare. And I said, dude, I'm driving through Denver. Why don't you just jump in my car? And so he did that. And we got to continue G-Fest for several more days, which was awesome. We watched a bunch of movies and hung out. But when I got home, there was this massive box on my porch. And Charles was like, oh, I shipped that out here. It's mine. And so I was a little confused about it. And then I was doubly confused when Charles was like, open my box for me. And I'm like, this is very strange. But I opened the box and lo and behold, he was so grateful that I gave him the ride from Chicago to Denver that he built, painted, and gave me this thing gratis. And what this thing is freaking amazing.
I know what this is. I saw you open it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, mugga.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yes.
We all know what that is.
Wow.
Yes, the Paradise Rodan.
Gorgeous.
And
Beautiful.
yeah, it is huge.
Yeah.
Look at the wings.
Beautiful.
Paint.
The paint cap. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, he knocked this thing out of the park, and there's blues on the back. Like
Beautiful.
Seeing it through a camera just doesn't do it justice. This thing is incredible, and I love it. I have it in a place like a really special shelf. Whenever I'm in my office playing Sega Dreamcast, I just look over my shoulder and I get a giant smile on my face. And the fact that he just gave this thing to me just freaking blows my mind. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's just like, yeah, well, you gave me a ride. And I'm like, dude, a ride does not constitute a gigantic Rodan, but I'll take the Rodan. So, yes,
Awesome.
rated M, it is beyond dope. All right, it is so cool.
And it's a 56 Rodan too. That's the quintessential version of Rodan, in my opinion. Just saying.
Yes, and quick shout out real fast, a little just knowledge about me. Okay, so I said Matango is my favorite Toho Kaiju film. My favorite Toho Daikaiju film, there's a difference there, is
Yes, of course.
Rodan. Rodan is my favorite. Monster Zero is my favorite Godzilla film. So there's all these, gradations in there. But so yeah, my favorite Daikaiju film is Rodan, 1956. And talking about
What in the
Rodan,
hell?
I'm Rodan's voice actor. I thought you knew that.
Is that what we're doing now?
Oh no! Here comes Titanosaurus. Yep. Mhm.
Let's hear it.
No,
All right. My last show on and tell. It's another Rodan. It's a very, very special piece. I need to get it framed. I just got it about 10 days ago. Alex Sawyer painted this for me.
Alex. Wow.
I can't see that at all. There's a glare.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh wow!
Cool.
Beautiful.
Dude,
That's awesome.
Alex
Wow.
is
Very jealous. That is rad.
Fantastic.
style of that Edo style
Yeah.
relation of Daikaiju into the Edo style is just genius.
It's
genius.
it's brilliant. And
Yes.
once that thing's framed, it's going to go with the Paradise Rodan, and there's just going to have like a little Rodan corner, and I'll just sit there and flap my wings and call my fellow Rodans, and I'll just be very, very happy.
We love
But I do. That's my favorite Daikaiju is Rodan. He is.
Awesome. Wow.
Watching Monster Zero as a kid, 3 things struck me, and it was, God, this astronaut Glenn guy has so much swagger. Holy cow, Godzilla is so cool, but oh my gosh, I think I like Rodan better.
What?
and that's not even Rodan at his best either. Because when I saw Monster Zero, I didn't know what any of that was. My father said it's a dinosaur movie that I would like. And when Rodan came out of the UFO takes him out of the volcano, the rocks, I was like, what is that thing? Because he was kind of
like,
didn't know what it was. Like,
yeah.
what is that? Oh, it's a pterodactyl, but or pteranodon. But he's not at his best in I mean, he's not bad, but he's not at his best. 56 Rodan. Can you imagine if that beast continued on throughout the series? Woo!
My wishful fantasy that I hope happens, and I don't expect it to, but I actually don't want to see Yamazaki make a sequel to -1. I want to see Yamazaki make a Rodan film. That's what I want.
We talked about that on the show. It should be a standalone Rodan or Ghidorah or something. Mothra. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I want. That is what I want.
That's what we all want.
Yeah.
In this room, anyway.
I'm going to respond to Nathaniel real fast. So I did mention that there are shades of the Monsterverse that I like. The Rodan scene in 2019 is the best thing the Monsterverse has ever done. Now, the rest of what they do with Rodan in that film makes me want to vomit, but
I agree. Now, the one thing that they missed the mark on, if they put Rodan's theme when he came out of the volcano, that would have elevated that movie to a level where I would probably like it like a little bit. So if they just didn't get it right, they went half-assed. They're trying to do fan service, but can you imagine if that horrific Ifukube Rodan appearance theme was accompanied by that actually really well done scene? That would have been, but that's Monsterverse. They don't do it right.
Well, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but
me neither. Sorry.
Truly, as a 4-year-old,
please don't.
As a 4-year-old in Astro Monster, Rodan was scrappy. And Rodan, even though he may have been outclassed, Rodan didn't think that of himself. Rodan's like, I'm just as good as Godzilla, and screw this guy Ghidorah. But in 2019, Rodan's like, here's my curtsy.
Ooh.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving on.
Well, that's great stuff. Awesome, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks again for having me.
Fantastic.
All right. Mr. Chambers, you're up.
Rodan's the best part of the Monsterverse. I guess he fell asleep on the King Ghidorah parts, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
You mean the ugly brown dragon?
Nah, man. Nah. Nah. Hey,
I
look.
see an ugly brown dragon behind you.
Hey.
Uh-oh.
Really? Oh, okay. I mean,
Don't make me go get a pilot ace and show you how Ghidorah's really done.
Greg's gonna Greg's going on the Greg's gonna be on
right there, buddy.
On the Christine list soon.
Nah, it's cool. Look, I'm all for friendly banter. Like, that's what I'm about. Just nobody can compete with me except for Greg. But you know what? I'm happy these days. This is an awesome week for me. Not only is David back because he was feeling under the weather, he and Keith are feeling better now. That's great.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes.
John Ruffin is back after being gone for a couple months, and I'm glad to see that brother. Man, I'm glad to see him back. Truth be told, I came from a great comedy roast on Tuesday night that had me happy. If you know. So I've been really happy. Nowadays. And again, thank you so much for being here on Collect All Monsters. And gonna plug last week's stream that I did with Greg Betters. Please check it out. He's the awesome new artist on the scene. Great collector. He's also, like Greg Benton. Like a lot of these Gregs are really, really cool ass people that we know. He's a great supporter of our show, but now he's starting to do commissions and stuff like that. He's about to see a couple in a few seconds. So please check it out, Greg Better. See, there he is. Right there.
What's up, Greg?
Oh my God!
Speak of the devil.
He might be the better Greg.
Oh, Greg, my wallet is saying, why can't I quit you? Because we can't. But again, these three show and tell pieces. Oh damn!
Oh, they're on the floor.
Yeah, they're on the floor. That is probably Jesus saying, like, calm down, Leslie. But I got a couple things from him that he made for me that I did showcase last week on the show. So I'm gonna showcase them here. So as you know, during G-Fest weekend, I did show off that I got a couple of 3D printed statues of our favorite Heisei flying machine that opposed the King of the Monsters in 1984, 1999, and 1995. Of course, I'm talking about the Super X, the Super X2, and the Super X3. Oh. So I sent them off to Greg, at least the Super X1 and Super X3. And he made this cool diorama of the cool Super X.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
Bring it closer.
Oh, that's, yeah.
See that?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Holy cow.
Awesome.
And on top of that, he made a magnetized where I can take the ship off the pedestal.
Awesome. Yeah,
look at that. This is 3D printed by Terry Bridges, and this is built and painted by Greg Better. So, John, I know you're a huge 84 fan.
Absolutely.
For real. Like, come on now.
Fan. I want one.
Jonathan, too. Jonathan's watching. I'm sure he's like, oh, look at that.
And, Jonathan, I did send you a couple pictures. So, if you could showcase that picture of this Super X with the certain figure that I have in my collection. I'm sure he'll get it up momentarily. But until he does, Greg did a great job with this, So if you want a model kit built and painted, or you want a diorama built and painted, or if you want a vehicle built and painted, you know what I'm saying? Hit up Greg Betters. Like, again, he's like, my money's going towards him for the foreseeable future, which is awesome. So now we talked about the Super X. Let's go with the next version of the Super X, with the Super X2, and this is from a kit company called, I think, David, you might be able to pronounce his name better than I can. Is it Kodo Bukiya or Bukaya? What is that? Do you know?
Kodo Bukaya. I don't even know. Yeah. Kodo Bukuya. I don't know.
Well, you say a lot better than I do, so we're gonna go with David's version. It's a model kit company where you have to take like pieces of a vehicle or a model kit and put it together yourself, right? And they just reissued this kit not too long ago, and it's of the Super X2.
Yes,
and it comes across too. And it comes on top of this base. Do you remember this from Biollante?
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's
okay.
The TC system, where that
under control.
Yeah, where that Seredian agent met us in,
Yes.
Side note, did anybody hate that dude more than I do? Like, that's a Seredian agent.
I loved him because right at
Kiss
the
you
get-go,
guys.
he tells us to kiss. I think that's really sweet of him.
You know what? I didn't like his suit.
Like, you know what?
That's a Seredian agent.
Suit.
You know what? I know Godzilla was the villain of that film, but for me, that dude was the real villain because I couldn't stand him whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is the Super X2, and it comes with the fire mirror that you can open and close. But I got mine unopened. And again, these model kits come in pieces, really small pieces, where you have to put every single piece together, the missiles, and just it's like. It was a painstakingly operation for somebody that doesn't know anything about kits.
Oh wow!
But yeah, this is the photograph of the first Super X diorama with the Cybot 84 that just came out this year. So that looks great, and of course this is the Super X2 with the gigantic 89 Godzilla, which looks absolutely phenomenal. And pretty much every single Super X is in scale with the Godzilla I have displayed with him. The Cybot with the 84, the gigantic 89 with the Super X2. And so this is a cool kit. And you know what? They're on Hobby Search right now for a relatively low price, like maybe $60. Yeah. Again, the only thing about this, you have to put it together yourself. But if I was able to put it together, I'm sure Ray Charles can do it. So, but it's real. Like if you're a fan of Biollante and a fan of the Super X2, you owe it to yourself to go after this. And now we're going towards, I believe this is Kyle's favorite. You know what I'm saying? I love pleasing Kyle because seeing him smile, seeing that punk rock Santa Claus smile is one of my major goals in life. And he's smiling right now. See, I see you, buddy. It's okay. You can smile. But we got to talk about the Super X, the Super X2, what is next? And courtesy of Greg Bettis and Terry Bridges, the Super X3.
Nice.
There you go.
Awesome.
Ooh, there you go.
Beautiful.
Come across this burnt diorama that Greg that made for me, and again, just like the Super X, I can detach the Super X3,
take them off,
and take them off, and then you can, this looks really, really cool. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's my favorite one of the three.
I was going to ask y'all that. Which one?
I like that one.
It's funny. I was going to ask you, Leslie.
That's the thing. Honestly, for all the Super X I have in my collection, I've always wanted a Super X3. Like for some reason, this is the one that's been so elusive to me. And I also believe that the Super X3, I think Kyle will agree with this, it's the one that doesn't get enough love. Like the first two get the most love. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But Super X3 is not only underrated, but it gets not the appreciation that the first two do, and it's also not so heavily represented in the collectible world. So, and again, I was waiting for X Plus. I was hoping they could do it in the Total Maniacs line, and they might still do it come next year when the film turns 30. You never know. But again, I'm tired of waiting for X Plus or anybody. So you know what? I'm going to these 3D printed models and stuff like that. And I finally got myself a Super X3. And again, thank you to Greg. Thank you. And so thank you.
The Super X3 was 3D printed also?
Yes. Now
that's good.
Now the diorama, Greg made this on his own.
Greg did that on his own,
yeah. Because I just gave him a bare bones description. I said I do want the Super X on top of a diorama base, or at least a base. But I also wanted where I can detach the Super X and put it at the feet of the monster if I want to.
That's cool.
Greg took it upon himself to add the chart buildings. You know what I'm saying? And he did that honestly. He did that free of charge because he's been such a huge supporter of our show and of our efforts. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of did that. He did that as a favor to me. And so I really do appreciate him for doing that. Between that, the Super X, again, look out for Greg. He's going to be up there with David Dopko, Steve Burley, Marcellus Winters, Burley Vane. You know what I'm saying? If you got a kit or a Kaiju collectible project that you want originally made, contact Greg. And that's pretty much it with my show and tell. And again, thank y'all so much for being here back on Collect All Monsters. Really do appreciate it. Now I'm going to kick it over to my main man down in Southern California, the one and the only. There's room for both. David.
Hey, everybody. So finally feeling like a human being again after 2 weeks of COVID. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy I'm not coughing. I was worried that was going to be happening during the show, but so far I'm so good with lifesavers and water. I'm good. But real quick, so I think Greg Benton, I'm surprised that he did Rodan instead of Matango's voice. All right, so that's number one. Number two, did any of you guys hear the themes to each of the Super X 1, 2, and 3 as he's showing them off? I'm hearing the music in my head. All three.
I also saw the Takashima Boys in my mind's eye.
Yep. And the reason The reason, yeah, there we go, woohoo! The reason that I like 3, and a lot of people are agreeing too, is that 3 was actually the most effective of all 3, and doing its in defeating Godzilla, or at least aiding in Godzilla's defeat. The other ones were pretty ineffective.
I would argue that 1 did its job until they blew some nukes up over Godzilla.
Oh yeah, I guess the first one did it, but the actual, if they didn't have that freezing effect, Godzilla would have imploded much sooner. Anyway, that's that. I just had to say those things. And again, hats off to Greg Betters, who should be a guest on the show one of these times, because he'd be a great guest. And doing mecha is not something that is my forte. Like, I'm not good at that. That needs to be airbrushed, and it takes a certain set of skills that I don't possess. So if I have any mecha or Toho, weaponry, I'm going to send it to Greg to do for me, because that's not my thing. So bravo to Greg.
You would do a UFO for Monster Zero? You wouldn't do a Planet X saucer for Monster Zero?
No, Leslie, I tried to do one, and it didn't come out very well. I had it.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I'll take it off your hands.
You needed it, or it was for a commission. It was for somebody else, and I said it's not out of my wheelhouse. But it's not easy to do. You need a different type of an airbrush. You need different types of paints to do it successfully, in my opinion.
Okay.
But anyway, all right. So let's move on to my show and tell. So let's start off with this. Now, I had to ask the guys whether I showed this off last week, because I cannot remember. But if I did, you're seeing it again. This is a wonderful gift by Alex Murdich.
Beautiful.
And it's the same sculpt as the one that we gave away on our show. And he knows that I absolutely love the storyboard Godzilla. And he knows that I love kind of glowy, glittery things. And he made this especially for me. And I absolutely, absolutely love it. It's fantastic. And he is one talented guy. I really, beautiful. If you ever want anything, any like chibi or any kind of a thing that looks like this, please hit up Alex Murdich. He's the nicest guy. He's a good friend of the show, and he's the one that did our mascot. So he's a super talented guy, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Actually,
his dad's pretty cool.
If you don't mind me saying, I feel like it looks a little bit like the storyboard Godzilla that we've known, mixed with Godzilla -1. Especially with that color scheme.
I can see that. You know what? Yeah, I can see that too. And it also looks like the maquette in the puppet that comes over the hills of Odo Island too. If you look at it from here, like up there too. So it's got a lot of influences, and all of which I love. And I think, this guy is, only doing bigger and better things. He's improving each time he creates a piece. It's better and better. So also it's amazing.
Alex, like you mentioned, Alex did our Kamagon's figure, a little chibi figure that we have.
Yes.
We sold half, I think, of that run at G-Fest in 2022. 2023. Geez.
Right.
And then so he didn't have all of them at G-Fest. So we're about to get cracking on that second half of that run. Nice. We're going to sell them, I think, just through the Facebook group when it's time, but it should be time pretty quickly. So
perfect. That's great. No, he's a great guy, great friend of the show, and just I love the guy. So thanks, Alex. So let's see. Next, I'm going to show you something kind of cool that I got from G Akamoto. He sends me these Aurora style X Plus kits, the styrene kits, because he and I have that connection. That's where we both started in our fandoms, and this is what we started collecting when we were kids. It's a really, I don't know if you can see it without the glare. It's a really beautiful Bela Lugosi Dracula.
Wow. Awesome.
And I have to really reacquaint myself with building styrene kits, because I don't do them very often, and I have a whole bunch that I need to build. So I got to buy a couple of crappy ones that I can practice on, because I do not want to mess this up, because it's a whole different set of skills than doing resin or vinyl, because you need to sand the styrene pieces down. And it's actually, I think they say this is like for beginners, but I think this is actually harder than the other ones, to be perfectly honest with you. And but thank you, G Akamoto, for always thinking of me. And he's got the Mummy coming, and I really can't wait for that one too, because the Mummy's awesome. And I have to show you this real quick. I do have I found this in my mother's attic. This is my original Dracula from 1972. This is the Aurora Glow box. Awesome. And you can see it's the old printed right onto the box. And I can't believe it's in this good of condition because most of my boxes got destroyed. But this was, my mother had Christmas ornaments in it.
Wow.
So isn't that lovely? Dracula Christmas ornament.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm very excited, and that's why G and I are such good friends, because we can reminisce about the times when this was all that was available to us in any, Universal Monsters, and of course the Aurora Godzilla kit is the very first Godzilla piece that I had ever, and many collectors started with that one too. And I'm going to quickly show you this too, even though this is the one.
Yeah.
I think I showed you this last time. This is the one from Super 7, and this is the original Godzilla box.
Yes.
Repro of the original Godzilla box. So I love this stuff. I love it. Thank you, G. And again, Collector Conundrum, it's not just Godzilla. I collect a little bit of Universal Monsters, a little bit of Star Wars, a little bit of Alien, a little bit of whatever. But anyway, Conundrum. So here is the pièce de résistance. And you guys all know too well about my theory on lotteries. I'm not a fan of the lottery. I'm not very lucky with the lottery, but I decided to bite the bullet. It was actually Christine Chapin who convinced me to do it. She goes, well, you got nothing to lose, do it. And I did. And it's for my very first Spiral toy.
Oh, great.
Okay. And this one was limited to 10 pieces. So the fact that I got one of the 10, I mean, I don't know, whatever. So I'm going to show it to you right now. It is this guy right here. And Greg, you're going to love this.
Wow.
It's the 1965 Daisenso Goji.
I've got the kit version on the way.
You got the kit, the clear kit version on the way.
Yep.
It's Spiral Toy released it in their Artisan Dynasty Godzilla series, and of course, this is 1965. It's an amazing sculpt by a collaboration of Slug Bat and Kaiju Canvas. They're super talented. Let's see what else. 30 centimeters tall. It's made with this beautiful crystal vinyl, and it's got this really great cellophane stuffing. As you can see, you can't really see it on the camera. And I don't have anything that's stuffed with cellophane. This is my first one. And it utilizes the technique of both interior and exterior painting, which I think is pretty special. And I got to show you the beautiful header card by the uber talented Bob Eggleton.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And you can see it's got a little P1 up there. It's got a couple of saucers, and it's got the Planet X hiding behind Jupiter. It's just beautiful. I mean, all things came together on this piece, and I mean, it's just spectacular. And it's big. It's 30 centimeters. It's big and it's clunky, and again, limited to 10 pieces. And so I have a renewed faith in my lottery abilities, even though I don't want to push my luck. But I'm really happy to have this. I didn't have anything by Spiral before this, but I'm very, very grateful to have this piece. And like I said, Greg, it's my first Kaiju film was Monster Zero, and not my all-time favorite, but in my top 3. And I love the closed mouth version.
Yeah,
and look, can you see the eyes? Those eyes. I don't think I've ever seen eyes painted this skillfully on a Sofubi figure. I mean, it's just really, and it smells like beautiful vinyl smell. Oh, I love it. It's so good. and I knew that I didn't have the COVID when I'm like, I can still smell the vinyl. Oh my God. but it's beautiful, and good luck to anybody. I know they're releasing some other iterations of this. And of course, Greg's getting the model kit that you put together, just the clear vinyl. So you're going to love it when you get it.
Yeah. Spiral Sofubi is ridiculously good.
Ridiculously good.
I just got the GMK, and Spiral Sofubi is really, really high quality.
Of course, we saw the Spiral, quality when we gave those away at G-Fest last year, or in 2023. I got through the whole thing without coughing, so I'm going to stop. Well, let me ahead and pass it over to my buddy John Ruffin. So go for it, John. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome, David. Well, it's good to be back on the show.
Welcome back, John.
After a few months, had a heat stroke in Japan. It took me down for 4 days, and it took me every bit of 3-4 weeks. When I came home, it just normalized. But it's good to be back. Oh, let's see, Nathaniel. And I've just been exhausted. I'll be honest, just without motivation, just down.
Just
Health.
3.
No worries. I've got at least 30 items, but I can't. I'll be done in 30 seconds. So you want to do? No worries.
You could always do cam minutes. You can do 30 cam minutes, John. You know, there's always that. We'll give you that, right? We'll all watch too.
But it's good. It's good to be back with you all. Since I've been away, it's just been awesome to go to the local conventions, RetroCon, ZillaCon. I went to an outdoor toy show today. Just last week at RetroCon was amazing. Really cool thing. And David, I know this will resonate with you. I got a brand new working JCPenney black and white TV like I had when I was growing up.
No way.
Yes.
That's
in the box. In the box. For $100.
Working order?
I wish I did.
Oh.
But it was like an order from our Christmas catalog. My grandmother used to always get us TVs when we were growing up. With that said, that's a part of my collector, conundrum. If I get to mention it later. With that said, that RetroCon was amazing. It took us 4 hours to go through heaven. It was like just amazing, like all the toys. It was better than ever. And today's show we went to was awesome. It's been getting a little out of hand, collecting. So I'll just 3 things that are cool, probably not the best of the stuff that I've been fortunate to pick up. I'll start. I got this last week from Thomas at RetroCon. I saw and said, "Gotta have this. It's just cool." And my collecting's changing, with with space, but also style. And this is just—I know you all know about it. I didn't know anything about it. Mr. Chops.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
So it's totally cool. It's a Godzilla 84. So I had to grab that. That was cool. This I don't know, it was
Mr. Chops.
a few months ago. Yes. And I always wanted one, and I saw that you guys had one, so I had to get one because I'm kind of changing my collecting. So I got the old.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got a jumbo.
Yes.
Megaton. Sorry, Megaton.
Megaton 71.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't leave this. I had
Is that the black and gold?
Yes.
Color scheme. Nice.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And that same day, well, not the same day, I went back and couldn't leave it. It's just beautiful.
That's the one I have.
Oh, okay.
That's my color one. Love it.
Yes. How's that?
Love that one.
That thing is bigger than I thought it was.
It's big.
It's big.
And I just couldn't leave it. I love the browns and green. And
it's like Bullmark, retro Bullmark kind of stylish, isn't it?
Yes. But my favorite Godzilla. I think this thing is beautiful. And I'm so glad I pre-ordered it. And I didn't get to look at our Facebook page. I've just been off of social media, except off of Twitter. And this thing is just awesome. It's my favorite Godzilla. It has everything that you get in a Defo reel, that you get in a suit accurate X Plus figure. It even has huggability qualities. It's like give you a plushy kind of feel. The James Groman.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. I just adore it. It's bigger than I thought. It's a nice soft vinyl, and the head you can put on the other head with all the, under the skin and bone and
oh no, I like that one. I like the non-damaged.
Yes, Mondo knocked this is knocked out of the park. I wish I had the other version. Just fabulous. Leslie, this would be a nice gateway drug for you. Bring you over to the dark side. To the sofa side a little bit. But it is absolutely
ain't no way in the hell. Ain't no way in the hell.
John,
that, but I know there's already Sophobia in your house, Leslie.
Yeah.
David, what we gonna say?
You're so right in your description. It's vicious, it's cute, it's suit accurate, and it's stylized. It's all of the above. So it's like a super powered Defo reel, like you said. Perfect description. It's great. It's big and it's not small.
It's huge, and It will sit next to me forever. It's
What's your mama
Aw.
say about it? What's your mama say about it?
she hasn't seen it. I haven't shown it.
I'll be damned. You ain't show your mama yet?
No, she hasn't seen it.
Well, I'm gonna tell them when I call next week. How about that?
let me tell y'all. I'm because of the collector conundrum. I'm leaning more toward color, and that means stylized and so forth. Can I just show 2 more quick things and I'll be done? I had to get the tricycle. The
you got the
Nice.
imposter tricycle.
That was a must.
Yeah.
And one last thing, because I have to show a book. I love this. And I'm done. But you have to show. You have to go back.
Oh, great cover.
This is from 1972. One of 10. I have one other in the volume, and it will come with a Super 8 reel, I believe, all set, and it's part of the Toho Kaiju picture book series. Very rare. This one, the pictures and the illustrations are just absolutely beautiful. This was a child, so the child played in this on a couple pages that writing on it, but
Nice.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Oh, Rodan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
You gonna scan that and put it on your website, John?
You should.
Yes, I plan to do that.
I want to see every page.
Me too.
Yeah, I think you would appreciate it.
You know, it's funny. You flashed that scene of Mothra over the temple. That looked like it was Miyajima Island to me. That looked like the Victoria Gate on Miyajima Island. I don't know. If they're
Yeah,
doing,
it does. It
really does.
I mean, it's just. Actually, hold on. I don't want to mess up the spine.
Oh, that's great. Can you give me
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I couldn't leave it. It's worn out on the spine, but it's so hard to find these.
Was it reasonable, John, or no?
I got it for, if it was new, I think it would have been like $250. I got it for about $60.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I couldn't leave it. And with the struggling yen, it's like I sat on it and said I waited like a week. Said I can't let this sit here.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was it.
Are you done? Are you? That's it, right?
I'm done.
Okay. All 6 items of it. That's great. Okay.
I had another 20. If you want me to go on some deep cuts.
I'd like you to go on some deep cuts.
Oh
If
man,
we weren't on a time restriction, John, I would probably say let's.
I know.
I just had an epiphany. We should do a special show about just show and tell, showing stuff that we got new, showing stuff that we got old. We should do that. It doesn't have to be a monthly show. We could do a show and tell exclusive special show.
What about
John? You could headline it.
Showa and tell deep cuts.
Yeah.
Yes. And okay, I have to mention this one thing. It's not something I bought. Oh, when I found, and I didn't realize I had it, except I think a month or 2 ago, my Mattel Rodan box. And it's virtually mint.
Nice. Wow.
Which
is not easy to do.
Since 1980 when I got it. I had it in a plastic bin in my basement.
Wow. So you didn't buy it, it was yours.
Oh, it's mine.
But just the box?
Yeah, just I had the figure. I had the Rodan.
Okay.
The Rodan beat up from childhood, but I didn't realize I had the box still. And it had Lionel Kitty City label.
Lionel Kitty City. Oh,
Mom didn't want me to see the price. My dad.
I remember that place, Lionel Kitty City. That was in Philly. That was in East Coast. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Kitty City. Before there was Toys R Us, it was.
That's right, Lionel Kitty City. Yeah.
3D hobby.
Yeah. You're just awesome. You're just awesome. Please go on. I need more. Please.
Excuse me.
I find myself agreeing with Leslie. Please go on.
No, take me off, Jonathan. Save me.
That is Mike.
Kyle, take me off. One more time.
All right, I'll save you, John.
Kyle's turn.
It's my turn. So you guys want to see what I got for my show and tell?
Of course.
It wasn't COVID, was it?
Yeah, I know. I wanted to ask you.
Oh my damn.
Well, hang on. Let's see if I can move here. See the spots right there on the wall?
Yeah.
For my show and tell, We got mold, guys.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh, that's not fun, Matongo.
Oh my
No,
No,
man.
that's not fun, Matongo. But yeah, definitely a huge womp womp moment.
Oh no.
But
That happens in Japan.
everything's downstairs in the tatami room right now. And we got wallpaper guys coming in tomorrow. So it's just a thing here in Japan you got to be aware of.
That's real.
Very different than in America. So
Mold is real.
let me show you the real stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I've already come to terms with it. I've had my meet Jesus moment.
Yes.
And now I'm fine.
Did Kumi Mizuno come out of the mold?
I wish she had, but she did not. Unfortunately, just anger and just shaking came out of it. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so actually, let me start with these guys. So last month, Lady Kyle, as I mentioned before we got going, Lady Kyle is feeling a lot better now, and so we were able to go do some adventures. And so last month was the last month of it being open, and Haneda Airport, they had an Ultraman pop-up event,
I
and
remember
it was
that,
called the Ultraman Rising pop-up event, Ultraman to the World, and it was all throughout the entire Haneda Airport. They had displays and all sorts of crazy cool stuff going on. In fact, let me just kind of quickly share this screen here. This is me and the lady in front of the Ultraman Rising statue. They also had several other displays, like things you could stand in front of. So this is me in front of one of the displays. Yeah, with Buska, Bolton, and Garamon or Pigmon. They're doing the plane, and then this is me in front of another one. Basically, the entire airport was decked out with Ultraman stuff.
That's so cool.
And
Nice.
And they had a stamp rally.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
so you had to go to do the stamp rally, which is here. These are all the stamps that they had. You had to go to all of these different locations in the airport, and it took us hours to do this. And we weren't flying anywhere. We just literally went to the airport to do this stuff.
Try doing that in an airport in America.
Yeah. They definitely had it all in accessible areas, so you didn't have to go through security or anything like that.
That's smart.
But we went to this, brought home a few goodies, like some Ultraman cookie. Wait, these were cakes actually, where they had these three characters, Gavadon, Pigmon,
little
Ultraman.
Gavadon cake is so cute.
They're adorable. And then they had food and all sorts of stuff. If you got all of the stamps, which we did, then the prize was a clear file. Japan loves its clear files.
Clear files.
And it was a lot of fun. We had a blast. It was really, really cool to do. And,
That's great.
Yeah, and so that's number one on the show and tell, 1.5 if you count the mold. Number two was at the very end of the month. I think it was like the 31st or something like that. There was a kaiju indie film being shown in my area, in where I live in Chiba, and it's called Kami no Fude, Brush of the Gods, and it's done by Daisuke Sato and actually technically I guess I should say it's done by Keizo Murase, who is the suit maker from Toho, who's been working in the suit making business since 1962 basically. And anyway, this is sort of like, I don't want to say his swan song, but this is sort of like his production. He directed it. He came up with the concept and everything. I'm not going to talk about the film itself too much, but it is in the scope of independent kaiju films. I really, really thought it was way better than I was expecting it to be. It was a great movie. Had a great time watching it on the big screen.
That's so cool.
Understood about a quarter of it because I don't speak Japanese, but because I went to the screening, oh hey Roxy, because I went to the screening, it came with this cool postcard with art by Shinji Nishikawa.
I love that.
That's so cool.
And it was such a great experience that I ended up going to the little souvenir shop thing and got myself an acrylic stand of the Orochi, which, by the way, I should show pictures from Wonder Festival. They actually had the Orochi suit at Wonder Festival. Like
Awesome.
the not suit, but the puppet. It's
Yeah.
freaking massive, and it was beautiful, absolutely stunning. So while I can't have a figure of it, I'm glad I have a representation of it. And then also, just because I thought they were cute, I got these little chibi stickers,
Cool.
That's
also by Shinji Nishikawa, and that includes a little
Yes.
a little
I wanted
Keizo Murase as well with the brush of the
Oh, that's
there.
great. And a little mushroom in the
Anyway.
middle.
Totally, yeah. The mushrooms, these are all essentially characters or pieces from the movie. It's really very well done, and
Right. Okay.
I'll talk about it another time too. But like, I hope it comes out on Blu-ray in
I'd love
America
to
so
see it.
people could see it. It's a. I mean, I will say it's probably one of the best independent kaiju films I've ever seen. So
Wow, that's
kudos to
that's
those
that's a
guys
huge
for that.
endorsement. Now, Kyle, was it anything like Murase's Howl from Beyond the Fog? Was it in that sort of like similar to that? Or?
Yeah. So, Howl from Beyond the Fog is more like for people who know, that's like a Bunraku puppet style,
Right.
where all the humans are puppets basically, and it's very. I love that movie. It's a short film essentially is that one. This one was a full blown like 70-minute long film.
Wow.
Actual human characters, and actually the the human actors, you'll recognize half of them because they were like in Godzilla movies or behind the scenes of Godzilla movies. And then there's like 2 kid actors, and especially the main lead girl who's in the film, really really talented. I mean, I was, child actors, I don't want to say I expect the worst from child actors, but I don't expect the best. And they were they delivered very well. Okay, last show and tell item. I pre-ordered these months and months ago, but I've been collecting the mid-size CCP GMK figures. I showed off the DNA exhibit, black and white version last month, and this month I can show off these 2 bad boys.
Oh, okay.
So it's this clear orange version or yellow orange version with more orange paint. Beautiful, like lights up in the sunlight.
Beautiful.
And this guy here looks like the atomic blast is about to go off from inside of him. It's like beautiful. Anyway,
I think that's my favorite one. That's my favorite.
I love
one.
these guys. And I saw 2 more are coming. When I went to Wonder Festival, they had 2 on display that said that they would be available in the winter of this year. So hopefully pre-orders go up for that soon. And that does it for my show and tell. And it is, I think we have enough time to do the chat room check-in before we check in with Christine.
Well, Kyle, please keep us posted with the movie information. I'm really curious about this movie.
Oh, no problem.
When you find out more, if you find out any more information on that, because that's right up my alley. I love that stuff.
Well, what I would suggest just off the bat is they do have a Instagram account and they do have a Twitter account. So if you're on either of those,
I'm on both.
That would be the way to do it. Oh, actually,
Perfect.
You know what? It's a little bit early, but if she's ready, Christine just popped in to yeah, she's here. So why don't we go ahead and add Christine and let's get a live report from Godzilla Fest.
Awesome. Hey,
what's up, girl?
Hey,
Christine.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Oh, we are out here at Godzilla Fest, San Francisco, in Japantown.
Woohoo!
It is awesome. Oh my gosh, I am having a great time. Let me, I don't know if I should walk backwards here or what, but here we go. We're in the dealer's room right now, which is
Wow.
the Japantown Cultural Center, I think. But we got, what we got back here? Let me walk backwards. Not run into people. Oh, check it out. We got Kaiju Legion over here. The one and only James Osborne.
Awesome.
He did I'm on Collectible Monsters right
Yeah,
now.
that's awesome.
He just did a live Sakudi painting over in the
neat.
room.
That's
Which is
cool.
across the street. And then we've got Tomar over here. I'm on Collectible Monsters right now. Lots of beautiful art here. And it's really been a great turnout. Like the whole area of Japantown has just been full on like supporting of this
That's
Godzilla
great.
Fest. This is the first year that they're actually sponsoring it. Oh, and then we've got Oh yeah.
Oh, Super 7.
Super
Yeah.
7, yeah.
Good
Oh,
stuff.
you gotta come get some Super 7 goodies.
Yeah.
Is Brian Flynn there today, or did he?
He was.
He was.
He was here earlier. I don't think he's here now.
Okay.
But yeah, he was here. But lots of vendors, and it's all spread throughout Japantown. So this is the main dealer's room. But there's all the shops in Japantown. Like they have their little Godzilla things set up, and like little things you can get. Oh, I bought a cute hat, which we got some more cool art over here.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really loving it. And Megumi Udako was here earlier. And then tonight she's check out who this is.
Adam.
What are you doing there? What's he doing there? What's up, Adam?
Adam.
Yeah, look at all this good stuff. Titanic Creations in the house.
Wow, nice.
I got it. Oh, look at
Any
this
pull his cards?
Oh, nice.
Where am I? Okay, wait. Oh yeah, check out this cool Gorgo.
Gorgo's
Oh yeah, Gorgo's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I gotta show you this over here too. They have this huge okay, you guys all know that I'm oh, who this? Oh, I collect monsters.
What's up, dude?
Oh, we live. Oh,
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
AJ
I
Gregory.
can hear you because I have my earbuds in.
Oh,
But they also have, oh, this is pretty cool. It's from Ultraman, which I'm not like usually versed in Ultraman, but check this Ultraman
awesome.
Samurai thing out.
Wow.
It's super cool. And then we got like
That's crazy.
I don't know if you can see it. I think the movies playing down here. They have like themed foods and all that. Oh, and then the man himself. Get in here, Bob.
Bob Johnson.
Bob Johnson sponsoring the whole.
Cool.
Oh, no.
Selfie to the world.
What's up, Kevin?
Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm on booth anymore.
Oh, he put on a lot of his stuff. He has some custom paint.
Hi, Lisa.
Items in here, yeah.
What's up,
And, all
Lisa?
that. And there's somebody else that you have to meet, which first of all, I don't have my glasses on. Oh, where he's behind me? Oh, where is he at? Oh, guess who I ran into?
Keith Aiken.
Keith.
What's up, dude?
Today in person.
Yes, this is the first time that we met in person. Finally.
What's up?
We're here.
Nice.
Godzilla Fest, having a ball. Maybe say hi to Kyle.
Hey,
Yeah,
buddy.
he's very excited to see you, Kyle.
Yeah. We wanted to
I'm so
surprise
small.
you. Sorry you're not
Oh,
here. It's
here's
always
Kyle down there. There he is.
So I'll have to try to, now that she's in Sacramento, I'll have to actually try to do one of your shows. Yeah.
Yep, he's like maybe 20 minutes, half an hour from me. So
Fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Like I said, it's kind of, she moved so close.
yeah,
It's like, let's do it. And
we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Well, you're on Collectible Monsters right now.
Yeah, I guess
So you did it.
You're doing the show.
So we don't ever have to do what you say.
Here you are.
He's like, I'm done. I'm done. But yeah, it's been.
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
I hope you'll be on the show at length at some point. It'd be nice.
Yes.
So, thank you.
I'm gonna go sit on
Awesome.
it here, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's really cool because they have 2 murals that Toho was sponsored and put up in Japantown, which is oh my gosh, so cool! A huge -1 mural that's gonna be permanent,
Oh,
and
wow.
then another one that has like all the like Heisei Kaiju all along the wall. When you come in by Daiso, my favorite store.
Oh, I love Daiso. Love
So
Daiso.
I think that one's gonna be temporary, but so yeah, if you are in the Bay Area or you want to come like check it out, it's this weekend. So tomorrow there's gonna be the event is going on as well. They have 2 movies playing tonight, and they also have a free movie playing in the plaza out here at Japantown. So lots of exciting things going on.
Where's
Really
Dell?
excited for
Where's
this-
Dell?
Oh, he's over here.
Oh, Dell's there?
Oh, Dell.
Yeah,
We got to see Dell.
Where's he at?
Oh,
Hey, what's up, Dell? How's it going?
Joe.
Yo.
Everybody's over
Where's
there.
Magumi?
I was like, Christine, where's Dell?
Oh, okay.
Megumi, she's done with her signings. She's been really tired, so
Oh,
she didn't like sleep for like 30 hours.
oh no.
So yeah, so she was out here for a bit, but she'll be at the movie tonight, doing like a opening thing. We're watching Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla tonight, and also Battle for Earth.
Cool.
Oh.
So it's a good time, having a lot of fun, buying a bunch of cool toys. There's a stamp rally going on which I have my receipts and I have to go get my stamp, so I'm super excited for that. It's my first time ever doing a stamp rally, so that's pretty exciting. Oh, see that right there? There he goes, AJ. All the people looking at it. Are you recording? No. But yes, would definitely love for, hopefully if it goes well, and there's been a really great turnout today. I know that they sold about 700 tickets for
That's
just
fantastic.
today for just the dealer's room. So,
Oh,
and they had a good turnout for the fan dinner last night. So
That's so great. So glad you got to go.
thanks. Yeah, it's been a good time. Met a lot of awesome people here. So always good to see everybody.
good to see you.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you
Christine,
for
we
doing this,
appreciate you
Christine.
doing that.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. I don't know if I can do the whole show, but take care, you guys. Miss you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Have
Bye.
fun. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Right on. Well, that was well timed,
Yes, it
well
was.
executed,
Perfect.
actually.
Yeah.
And man, so good to see some of those faces. Like Keith Aiken and I, we used to work together on Henshin Online back in the day. And
Wow.
Oh my
yeah,
God, you guys did Henshin Online. You're bringing my childhood
Yeah.
back.
yeah, I was the webmaster of that website. So
Thank
like,
you.
Keith was like not the man in charge, but basically like after a certain point, like he was definitely the impetus behind so many of the articles that we posted on that website. So it was really great to see him. All right, so we just checked in with Christine. I think now it is time for our chat room check-in. I know we got a banner for that right here. So Leslie, are you ready to check in with the chat room as I blow you up here?
Check it.
And I'm sure Jonathan will be ready with the as best he can with showing people on screen.
Yeah. And I got to say, earlier on when your dog walked in, I actually thought a ghost came in, and I was about to sign off this broadcast. But I'm glad to see that dog. You not only got Mo, but you got some spirits with you. So I was like, okay, all right, you know. Oh,
You
by
got
the way,
Sadako's in there.
By the way, Kyle, today is Gretchen's birthday. So happy birthday, Gretchen.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Gretchen.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
Love
here
her
we
too.
go. We're going to speed through these like we're going to speed through the anime trilogy. All right, here we go. Helmet, what's going on? Nathaniel,
Hey.
I almost didn't say your name. I almost didn't say your name because you said, "Oh hell, Kaiju Queen Christine." And if you got low standards, keep it to yourself. That's all I got to say about that. We got Frank, Larry Layton, Johnny Coke. I'm sorry if I keep on killing that last name. Michael Hang, NW, and it's spelled like that. Tim Outen, the Greg Zilla. Of course, Greg Betters. What's up, man? Tim Bartos, Ray 2D2, Gojira 91, Rated M, Mark Rodriguez, Calvin Wan, Oscar Solis, the Monsterverse Maniac. Let's see who else. Excuse me. Kaiju Battle, of course. Always here. Let's see who else.
Mike Farah.
Mr. Cacaldi, Kevin Ewing. Let's see who else. Fanciest of Cats. But I haven't seen you in a minute. Where you been at, dude? Let's see who else. Zach Champagne, and that's all I see. We got 34 people here. So again, thank you for being here. All you wonderful, fine, awesome looking people out there.
Thank you.
Right on. All right. So
hello.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. The first hour of the show, we are gonna probably blaze through our next segment, which, as everybody knows, is our Kaiju Collectible News. Okay, so Mr. Jonathan Portman, our producer, is behind the scenes right now. And I believe what we're going to do is we'll kick things off with Leslie Chambers and his news segments. And I'll go last here. It'll be David, and then Greg, and then John, and then me. Perfect. Right? And yeah, take it away, Mr. Chambers.
All right. X Plus finally announced it. They finally announced that the X Plus favorite product line of the Odo Island Godzilla 2023 from -1 is up for pre-order, and it should come out hopefully in December. And that's going to be very interesting because I actually love this design. Now, I know I have not been too kind to Easy Hobby because they're the ones that behind the sculpt. X Plus is just partnering with them to get this figure out, right? And I know I have not been too kind to a lot of their sculpts because a lot of their sculpts don't really appeal to me. I'm just being honest. But this one does, you know what I'm saying? Even though I have not said the most kind things about Easy Hobby, I've always been happy that they exist because the more companies out there doing Godzilla products, the better it is for us as collectors. But this will be my first ever Easy Hobby, want to say, purchase, even though it's coming through X Plus. And at first, I was kind of pissed because I wanted this, but there was no way to get it because they, for what I understand, X Plus can only sell this product in Japan, not overseas. So if you want to get it, if you're from here or from anywhere other than Japan, you had to go through Easy Hobby you had to go through Easy Hobby to get it. Or like I said, if you know, we got to hook up in Japan, Kyle. You know, I guess we could call him and throw some yen his way, and he could get it for you. But you couldn't go on the RIT website and get it yourself. But I was able to acquire this from Awesome Collector, and not only is it going to come with Godzilla, it's going to come with a little mini diorama of a water display with the fish, you know, with their intestines, you know, coming out of their bodies, like a little mini display. Yeah. So I was so pissed because I wanted this and I had no way to get it. But again, thank you to Awesome Collector. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, I was able to get it. And again, it's going to come out in December of this year, hopefully. And the fact that they're bringing out this, the 30 centimeter -1 and the Death of Real, it's going to be kind of hard to see which one probably the better one of the three, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, I actually enjoy this version of Godzilla more so than the other -1 from the film, to be honest with you. Yes, I find this Godzilla to be more imposing, more intimidating, more vicious. You know, it's a shame we didn't see him more in the film. Hopefully Yamazaki would not do a sequel, but do a prequel with this Godzilla. But that's another story.
That would be fascinating.
Yes, I'm for that.
Like, imagine this Godzilla on Oda Island making a horror film. Like, I want to see that. I want that. You know,
sacrificing his children.
Right. Like before the events of -1, do a prequel, not a sequel. But yeah, but if you do want this, hit up Awesome Collector, secure your spot, and get this awesome rendition of the Odo Island Godzilla 2023, courtesy of Easy Hobby and X Plus. And that's it in my new segment. So, David, what do you want to talk about in your new segment?
Well, before I talk about that, I want to give you some props for making that suggestion. I would love to see that realized in film. I'd love to see a backstory on the Godzillasaurus. Like, take the story from the original film. The Odo Islanders would sacrifice a young virgin on a raft.
Yes,
wouldn't you
that's
love
horror.
to see that? That's horror. And then you also incorporate the exorcism dance with the Tengu spirits.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be something? I would. You know what, Leslie? Now you got me going. That's what I want to see, and I know John does too.
Some 19th century fishermen pulling up the deep sea fish.
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
And it would be called The Last Dinosaur.
Because Godzilla would come because they needed the fish, and that would be their. Oh my God, so many possibilities. Please. All right, enough about that. I had no choice but to choose the item that I chose because we are. Everybody knows that our pool is almost finished here in the desert, and I was like, I have to have that girl. No, I mean the Mothra. Sorry. So many people.
The desert is changing him.
Not that much. When I first posted this image, someone's like, "Oh, I love that, but I want the Mothra too." I'm like, "Oh, come on." So anyway, this is just too cool for school. It is an officially licensed Mothra deluxe pool float, and it's a big son of a bitch. It's 9 feet by 6 feet.
Wow.
Keith and I can both go on it. It's got not one, but 2 cup holders, so we can each have a cocktail or a beer or whatever. It's got dual action quick fill valve, which inflates and deflates in under 2 minutes. So we can get instant gratification on this thing. So, I'm just hoping somebody buys this for us as a housewarming gift. I don't know. It out there in the universe. I'm just getting it. Definitely getting it. And that's going to look so cool floating in the pool.
Yeah.
And, the sun's probably going to bleach the hell out of it. I don't care. But, I mean, come on. Isn't this like tailor-made for my news item?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like, and the pool, after all the delays, we've had inspection delays from the county of Riverside, which can kiss my ass.
Wow.
we should have been finished already, but 3 more weeks, my ass will be swimming in the pool. 3 more weeks.
That's awesome.
Yep, because it's filling up today, and the chemicals have to level out before we can swim, and then they add the salt, and then once the salt is in, everything's ready to go, and we'll be swimming. Woohoo! So anyway, that's my item, and I'm really stoked, and I'm definitely getting that item, and it's available now. I should have put where you can get it from, but it's by Middle of Beyond. Yeah, just go to their website. It's available to purchase right now. So
and put it on the ceiling. Hang it from the ceiling when you're done.
Could hang it from the ceiling. Hang it from the patio outside, and it's under $100 too.
Oh, that's
so which is pretty good for a big piece like that. So anyway, that's what I got. It's great.
I hope that's the
going
first
next.
of many cool pool floats that comes out.
Yeah, we need a Titanosaurus pool float.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
A Mothra might look like a big poop in there floating around. Larva, sorry, a Mothra larva might look like a big poop, but a Titanosaurus would be fun. Or what's another sea monster?
Ebirah.
Ebirah would be fun.
How about a Gezora?
Oh, Katsura. Well, you know.
Gezora.
No, Gezora, yeah. You want to sit on Katsura, David?
I mean, you know, sorry, I'm still a little loopy, but no, I want a Gezora. Gezora would be great. Anyway,
I want to sit on Katsura.
I know.
Y'all don't want Zegra? How dare y'all disrespect Gamera like that? Y'all don't want Zegra?
Manda.
Zegra?
Anyway, Greg Benton, what do you got for your news item?
All right. I thought this was kind of cool. I came across this actually on the Kaiju Battle website, but these are some Super 7 Target exclusives. And what you're getting there is a Godzilla 89 and a Mechagodzilla 93. They're about, I think they're $35. You can order them right now on the Target website. This is the kind of thing that honestly, I'm not going to buy it right now. But if I was stuck in a Target with my wife and she was just not, being decisive and I was bored, one of these could wind up in the cart, easily. And really though, I think the reason I wanted to highlight this is as a fandom, and I know this is something David and I have talked about, good, bad, or ugly, whatever you want to say about the MonsterVerse, it's really made Godzilla way more accessible in the West.
True.
And so if you walk into any Target, and if you walk into any Target, you could find these Target exclusives. You can find Super 7 reaction figures. You can find Playmates figures. And so, for a little kid trying to get into this fandom, it's really a great time. And these are pretty cool. They're about 5.5 inches tall. They have limited articulation, but they also come with a little building. I mean, it's a very basic building, but, it does come with a building. So, I think it's pretty cool that this is the direction that the fandom is moving in commercially in America. So little kids can get something like this. And these are perfectly appropriate to smash around, I think.
Totally. Yeah. And imagine you guys, if we had these available to us when we were younger and just starting out, we would have lost our minds,
Yes.
And you said it perfectly, Greg. When Keith and I were looking at electronics in Best Buy, they had a whole line of Super 7 in Best Buy. And I picked one up. I picked up the Smog Monster, and it's like I wouldn't have bought it, but it was right there, and I was waiting for the guy to come talk to us. I'm like, oh, well, it's right here, and it was $20, $19.99. So,
did you get the pinball Godzilla, Mechagodzilla?
Which one?
The pinball.
I didn't see that one.
That's another Target exclusive. I actually grabbed those. Yeah, I grabbed.
It's not just Target, Best Buy, all of these places that you go into. If you just look down.
Oh yeah,
a lot of them have toy aisles now.
Yeah.
And you'll Super 7 is really showing up in a lot of unexpected places or now expected places.
I'm all behind Super 7.
You too. I've always liked Super 7. Always.
Yeah.
Just get product out there that's affordable for kids to play with, and just get them into Godzilla. The fact that they're advertising show-off figures and Heisei figures in big box stores in America just makes my heart happy.
On the Target website, you can see those. They have a Super 7 short video, advertising those two figures. So on the Target website, it's pretty.
Yeah. And they're nice looking figures. They didn't dumb them down too much.
No,
they're
not at all.
They're not bad at all. So hey, collect all monster fans. Collect these monsters for your kids and get them started young.
That's right.
Amen.
Mess them up early.
All right, take us away, John.
Now, if you don't get this, then you just send your soundtrack back.
If you don't get this, you don't get this.
That's right. Now, this is the deluxe complete Godzilla -1 soundtrack. The first one came out and was fantastic, but there was one track that was noticeably missing, and someone posted it on YouTube, and I had to download and strip the audio out. Do you all remember the acoustic guitar melody?
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, I love that. Yes, and I want to hear the whole piece. Well, the new release has
It's included
10 additional tracks. Yes, it should be in there. And as you can see, the titles there, the expansion of the titles we already are aware of, Pain 2,
Oh, this damn light.
Honor 2, Incident, it just goes. So it's available now for pre-order on Amazon Japan. And with shipping, I think it's $4,400 yen. But I was able to pay that much with shipping because of the yen value to dollar right now. So this is a must. And it will come out on October 16th.
Perfect.
And yes. If you hang out on Twitter, you would have also seen a big announcement, the Godzilla Fest 2024, with the beautiful new graphic. And the website is available, but they haven't listed any events yet. But look how this beautiful logo.
That's fantastic.
Graphic with all the Japanese movie titles embedded in the 70th graphic. So,
okay.
Is that the John and Kyle? Is that the one from the Super Ride Museum? Is that the Godzilla, the Sakai?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. It looks like it from behind.
Did you know if you stare at it?
Suits. What were you saying?
If you stare at it close enough, you can see Godzilla 98's logo in there. So Toho acknowledges it.
Oh, for crying out loud! Where's the Jesus Christ logo? Come on, Jonathan. Come on. And John, getting back to the soundtrack, I bet eventually in a couple of months, Kinokuniya stores will be carrying that. I guarantee it.
Yes. Let me just say a quick pub for Kinokuniya. Went up to New York 2 weekends ago with my buddy, and I finally got to the 42nd Street.
Right.
Kinokuniya. Oh my goodness.
That's the big one. Yeah.
That was fantastic. And and it's just a wonderful experience. I was always going to Edgewater because parking, 42nd Street, forget about it. But, we just parked in a lot. And all the shops in that area, it's just a wonderful. And I went to Tamashii Nation and got the exclusive SHMA Godzilla Bio Goji with the blue dorsal fins, beautiful SHMA figure. Just a great day. But yeah, Kinokuniya in New York City it's back on the map. It's epic. Great. I mean, I picked up some figures,
Oh, he's still doing his show and tell, Leslie.
Oh, I got stuff.
You're about to get banned. Keep it up.
I got hands today.
No, we love you, John. It's great. It's great.
Look, it's all about collecting. Right?
We're just jealous.
It never ends. Okay, but we got to look forward to Godzilla Fest, and God willing, I'll be there hopefully in November. So
awesome.
I'll take that in together. Yes.
I hope you will, man. It'd be nice to see you again.
Yeah, it'll be great to go back
in cooler weather, my friend.
Oh yeah,
absolutely cooler weather. Never go in July and August. Never don't do it.
I guess John Ruffin will never come visit me ever.
No.
Not
after the temperatures you talk about.
No, you can come in the winter. It's fine in the winter.
You'll be visiting me in the hospital.
That's right.
Oh boy!
Oh, you guys all get to party with Helmy.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
All right, Kyle, what you got?
All right. Well, let's actually go to school here for a second. You guys?
No, I'm on my weekend.
Not American.
Oh, yum.
My goodness.
Okay, so every
please.
New Year's there is a bunch of celebrations that happen. It seems a little out of time for me to talk about a New Year's celebration situation here, but I want to tell you guys about Oseki. Oseki is an annual meal that is built up here in Japan, said to have begun in the Heian area. So this is way old tradition here in Japan. Is a set of small traditional dishes served in a beautiful 3 or 4 layered lacquer bento box called the Jubako, placed at the center of the table on New Year's Day and remaining there over the next 3 days. And you share all this stuff with your family and friends, big sort of New Year's parties. And each item in the tray represents a particular wish for next year. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because right now, De Agostini, I think I'm saying that right.
Sounds good.
Has up for pre-order their 2025 Godzilla Oseki.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Now, I got here last year at the end of November. It was already too late for me to pre-order the Oseki, but I am doing it this year. So my wife and I will be celebrating Godzilla as well as the New Year when it comes time.
But
I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. So, number one, this is not just a food box. De Agostini, as you guys know, is like a magazine producer, and they've been putting out all sorts of crazy stuff in addition to their magazines for quite a while. If you were to buy the regular version of this, it would include this beautiful box art with the burning Godzilla on it. Also, in the next slide, you'll see two different calendars that are sort of banner style. Oh, sorry, the slide after. You'll see the banner style calendars that have the burning Godzilla in it and -1.
Oh, nice.
And so you can keep those up on your wall, keep track of the whole year. and then after that, it also, I think, comes with the sort of like postcards as well, which have some very famous scenes from Godzilla movies in the next slide. Nothing to really focus on here, just kind of cool stuff that it just comes with. But the next one here is if you get the DX version. So there's two versions, the regular version and the DX version. The DX version comes with this 12 centimeter tall Godzilla Reborn figure, which is basically, him at the end of Godzilla versus Destroyer. And
that's
it's
so
like
cool.
So
you say 12 inches?
Sculpting. 12 centimeters. So I think that's like what, 8 inches tall or something.
So is that an Iwakura cast? Is that made by Iwakura cast?
Okay,
that's
nice.
cast,
I can see
the little tag on there.
Yeah,
that's freaking amazing. And you know what? I want one. That's delicious.
Well, and cast figures for being so small are just gorgeous.
Right.
They really are. They do the deepest of cuts. I love that about cast. But let's talk about what's inside the box real quick. We're going to blaze through some of this stuff because everything in the Oseki is actually themed. And so they have the themed foods, but they also have tied it into Godzilla as well. So let's see. We're just going to start off with the first box. Let's go ahead and slip the next slide, Jonathan. You can see it's like we got 6 items here at a time. The most important one here is to talk about the lower left is supposed to be like the Destroyer crab. And then in the bottom center, that's like the 2 Mothra larvae from Infant Island. There's chestnuts, and each one of these like foods, not like I said, it's not just representing Godzilla movie stuff, but also represents certain Japanese traditions here. So chestnuts, for example, are golden in color, so they represent like wealth, and it's a sort of like a wish for good wealth throughout the year. Go ahead and skip to the next one, Jonathan. You can see the octopus in the top right.
Biollante Rose
in the middle on the top. Yeah, it's
awesome. Like that.
Is that Guy against Buzzsaw? Is that Guy
against Buzzsaw?
Oh, no way.
And then down lower left, that's Godzilla's spiced spare ribs. That's Minya in the bottom center, Minya eyes, and God. King Ghidorah in the lower right hand corner. I think essentially all of these items, they represent different things. Like I mentioned, the chestnuts for wealth. The shrimp, which I think is maybe Jonathan, you could just sort of slide through the next slides at your leisure. But basically, shrimp ebi represents longevity because the whiskers of the shrimp look like a beard. They have kurumame, azuki beans, black beans in there, which are representing health. There's just all sorts of like bounty, good fortune, celebration and promotion, strength and stability, auspiciousness and celebration. There's just so many things inside of this one box. You can see the Mothra there as well, which is
they got a burning Godzilla dish.
there's all sorts of stuff in here. That's just really, I can't wait to actually get it and hopefully show it off. Maybe I'll do a little cam minute on.
You should do a cam. You should totally do a cam minute on that because I want to see you enjoy some of this delicious.
I want to see you eat it.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. There's so many things inside the box, including traditional Japanese foods. Some of it's going to be, even to me, a lover of this culture, a little weird. But Jonathan, let's skip down to the last two frames here. So if you look online, I'll have there's a website where you can buy this, and these are, I don't even know if you can get these outside of Japan, but
probably not, because shipping and all that food.
Yeah, I know they ship them. They're probably going to ship them cold, right? So they'll show up in like a cold pack. But the actual this is not cheap. The Oseki, in fact, Oseki in Japan are not cheap. So I actually was just watching TV this morning, and there was someone selling an Oseki, and they were discounting it like an infomercial style, and it was like $150 at the end. But this is a themed one that we're talking about, so it's even more special. So the basic version of the Godzilla New Year's Oseki box is 25,800 yen, which is probably about $210 American right now. And then the DX version that comes with the figure is 34,800 yen.
Yikes!
So it's
I was hoping the 250 came with the figure.
I won't be getting that.
Yeah, I'm not going to get the DX version. I'm going to get the regular one.
That's a very spendy cast figure.
It is. It's all, honestly, it's all very spendy. But I'm looking forward to it because it's a cool way to wrap Godzilla into Japanese culture. And again, like I said, it's something we kind of missed out on this year when we had our own New Year's celebration here at the house. So that's going to do it for our news segment.
I love that. That's so much fun.
Thank you very much. Now it's time for us to blaze into our intermission for 2 minutes. And when we come back, it's all about answering those collector conundrums. Today on Collect All Monsters.
Hey, is that a new shirt?
It is a new shirt, Lady Kyle, designed by our favorite friend and fan of the show, not to mention the toy maker himself, Octeal. You can get this Kamegon shirt at TeePublic, and you can find the link to this shirt in the show notes right now.
ウルトラマンのぬいぐるみが欲しいの。大好き限定出荷ウルトラ怪獣101。
遊びに行って帰らない。で特徴はキャラコンである。とそして押すと回る。ラジオコントロールで動く。あ、そう。はい、じゃあここに重曹を締め、そして母音にキャラコンゴジラバンダイより発売中。キャラコン怪獣も続々登場。今新たなる力を加えた怪獣軍団が地球に迫る。迎え撃てグレートウルトラの戦士と共に。ウルトラ怪獣ウルトラヒーローシリーズバンダイから。
目撃せよゴジラ新世紀。ゴジラが吠える、オルガがうなる、迫力の爆音が響く。激突サウンドゴジラ対オルガ、そして長明堂。
And welcome back to Collect All Monsters. Hey, did you guys see? We have some cool new animated GIFs we threw up on the screen, like this. I thought it was just to show up. There it is.
Yes, I love it.
Oh, cool.
So cute.
Kamegon.
Kawaii.
And another Kamegon.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Right, well, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and kick off our main segment of this show. Collector Conundrums. This is volume 3. The first one was about navigating assessing the avalanche of awesomeness, all the crazy stuff that's coming out these days, and how we as collectors identify kind of like what we want and how we're gonna get it, and how we're gonna display it. The volume 2, which was our last episode, was there's a good thumbs up. About how you arrange it in your collection. And volume 3 here is how you evolve your collection. How has your collection evolved over the years? And, I think last time we had a full house pretty much, and we took a long time to talk about this subject. I think today what we're going to do is, instead of it sort of bouncing around the room a lot, we're just going to go one by one, and we're going to talk individually about how our collections have evolved. And not necessarily does that mean the same thing to every one of us. So each one of us is going to talk a little bit about how our collections have evolved and how we've seen that evolve within ourselves and within the way we, put our stuff out there. And I think I now have some pictures from David. I was looking for pictures of my collection from way back in the day, because I moved to Portland in 1996, and that's kind of when I started collecting, so to speak. Really, when eBay got on my radar in 99 was when I really started collecting. But I don't have any photos from before I moved into that house. I have some photos on really, really crappy photos on Facebook from way back in the day. It took me about an hour to scroll down through like all the Facebook photos to find them, but they were so bad I was like, I don't even need to show these off. So I'll talk about it when it's time. But Leslie Chambers, I'm curious, how did your collection start, and what did it look like when it began, and how did you get to the point where you are now, and how do you feel that your collection has evolved over time?
Well, it started with the 30 centimeter 84 Godzilla from X Plus, and it just exploded from there. And I've gone back and watched old videos of reviews I've done and old posts I made on Facebook, and you might see a shot of my man cave in the background. I compare those photographs to now, and everything is just sprouted up like a city. Like, at first it was grass.
Excuse me.
At first it was grass and rubble, and now you got skyscrapers of kaiju everywhere. And so I guess to answer this question, I guess for the past couple of years, I'm getting more into model kits. So I've evolved from not only X Plus, but just doing model kits, because model kits cover, and David can attest to this, model kits cover a wide range of monsters that not every company can go into for legal reasons or whatever. Case in point, Mecha King Ghidorah. Like, I know that is a sore spot for a lot of X Plus collectors. But again, I got tired of waiting. And so I found a kit. I had somebody build and paint it for me. I think it was Marcellus, if I'm not mistaken. Marcellus and Mark Sang Yang. But that's just an example, right? Instead of just waiting, instead of just complaining about it, just get you a kit. Find somebody to build a paint for you. You got so many people in our community that are very accessible. It'll be a slight fee, right, David?
That's right. That's right.
But
it's worth it.
It's worth it. It is worth it. Like, sit there complaining and going without, where there's a kit of that monster, you can go ahead and grab it. Have somebody to build a painting for you. Yes, it's a lot more expensive, but at least you can say you got to make a King Ghidorah. And a lot of folks can't say that right now. You know what I'm saying?
Not many.
So my collection has evolved more into model kits. I'm still going to get more model kits, because again, there are some monsters out there that are not so highly accessible for a lot of people, and that's where I am currently. But I have to say, to put a bow on my commentary here, just going back and this whole topics that we've been doing with collecting conundrums for the past 2 or 3 months have not only been refreshing, entertaining, very informative, but I think it's a wake-up call. Because I think as collectors, and we're all guilty of this, I know we all are more enamored about what's the next big thing. What's the next new shiny toy that's coming our way? Overlooking the fact that you got a whole collection room full of stuff that maybe has been overlooked, maybe has been underappreciated. Maybe you forgot you bought the figure in the first place. Things like that. So this series of conversations have made me more appreciative of what I have. And as collectors, you know what I'm saying, look at your collections, look at what you got, and be proud. Because in a way, a collection is not only just a display that has assortment of figures. It's not just something that you've done for yourself. It's not just because you're in a hobby. In my opinion, a collection is a reflection of you. So be proud of what you have instead of being worried about what the next big thing. Because obviously, the Godzilla merchandise train ain't stopping anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be more and new Godzilla merch coming. But that doesn't mean that you should underappreciate and overlook or ignore all the stuff that got you to this point. So if you learn anything else from this conversation of collecting conundrums, at least for me, appreciate what you have. Because there are a lot of people who would love to be collectors. And for some reason, for whatever reason, whether it's financial, they don't know how to get this stuff, they're not. So you're a lot luckier than them. So be appreciative of what you have. Because not everybody is blessed as you. So that's my biggest takeaway from this awesome conversation of collecting conundrums.
I'm curious, Leslie, how do you feel about your collection today? And if you had to like put on your, open up the magic ball, what do you call that, crystal ball, and say what your future is in the next, like, where do you see yourself collecting in 5 years kind of situation? Like what, like you're already like, you've got so much stuff in your room. I know, I'm not going to say you're at capacity, but I know that you have so much stuff.
Yeah, you can't say that. You can't say
that. So, I mean, aside from what you just mentioned about appreciating what you have, you know, you're going to get some more stuff. You know that Odo Island figures coming in. You know that as the years march on, things are coming in. You're going to be getting them. How does that affect how does that affect your overall collection, do you think?
That's the thing. It has to wow me now. Versus 5 years ago, if it has Godzilla's name on it, I'm buying it. Nowadays, it's about that thing really has to wow me. Like, for example, if they come up with another destroyer, he has to beat that. I'm sorry. He has to beat that. Or
Morrison made a pretty good one, Leslie.
Again, it has to beat that. Greg, you just answered my question. It has to beat that. Or if a new 64 comes out, and again, that's what David did for me with the KOC. I don't see anything topping that. Not trying to say that it can't be topped, but for me personally, it has to wow me because at the capacity of space that I am. And I am content with my collection where I am, even though I'm at capacity. Do I want more stuff? Absolutely. But I do also want to take that money and do more things like travel. Travel to Japan. Travel to Japan again.
Smart.
I want to go to Australia. I want to do more things in life. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going to be a collector in some way, shape, or form. But it's really going to slow down a lot in the next, I would say, 5 years. 5 years, I'll probably not I hate to say this. More like I probably won't be in the game. I'm just being honest. 5 years from now, I'll probably... If I ain't locked up, I'll probably be in the. I don't know if I'll be in the game. I'll still be on the show, but I don't know if I'll still be collecting. But you never know. But as it stands right now, I'm perfectly happy. And as far as like new stuff coming in, I like this. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Fair enough.
So that's where I am.
Wait to see what Toho cooks up in the next 5 years.
Okay, right.
Oh, God, yeah.
We'll never.
Yeah.
All right, David, let's talk to you for a second. Now, you got some pictures I got ready to share in just a second, but you have been collecting kind of all your life, right?
Pretty much. Ever since I was a little boy, I started collecting dinosaurs, and you do have the image there you can show in a minute. But I'm just so happy to hear, oh, there I am. That's my collection as it was in the mid-'70s.
Dino David.
I did have some Aurora monsters on the other side of the room on shelves, but this is the photograph that my mom took, and it's my prehistoric scenes snapped together from Aurora. And of course, I've got my reptile book, and clearly David liked red back then because everything in my room is red. And you can see there's a wing of a pteranodon there, but definitely dinosaurs was my gateway into collecting, okay? Because that's what was available to me when I was a kid. And the Godzilla things were very limited. And I always say this, if we were kids, if I was a kid today, I would have lost my mind. G-Fest, all the stuff that's available to us. But again, this is the time before VHS, before video recorders, before anything. We had to wait. Excuse me. We had to wait until they came on television, and it could be a year before we see a Godzilla movie again. You know, but this was my gateway, was dinosaurs. And before we go on, I just want to say I'm really happy to hear what Leslie said, because our whole goal of doing this series was to make people reflect on their collecting journeys and see where they're at now, where they're going, and to appreciate what they have. Because many of us, you know, that have been friends for a while, we've all been in the game for a while, and we have such beautiful collections. We really do have to stop for a second and worrying about what's coming out next, and really appreciate what we've acquired so far. And I think that's a really good takeaway from this series. And hopefully our tips will help, and our journeys will help guide someone else who's maybe in a different stage of their journey. So anyway, let's get to that. Get to my thing. So this is, I guess, my first collecting picture. And then what happened is I didn't start collecting again probably until after college, when I moved to New York City. That's when I started collecting smatterings. Bandai. I started with Bandai. Smatterings. So yeah, there it is. I knew I heard it somewhere. I started with Bandai, and then because they were accessible, they were inexpensive, and they were pretty realistic. I wasn't really into the stylized stuff early on. So from Bandai, then I got into the garage kits, Billiken, Kyoto, Max Factory, all of that kind of stuff. So it started off with Bandai, then it evolved into more model kits. This is way before X Plus. And then I guess when I moved to California, when I moved to San Francisco in '97, finally we had more room. I had a space that I could put my stuff in, so I was able to get more. And I met people like Mike Johnson, who helped me out. I used to go to Super 7. Now that Christine was mentioning it, you know, in Japantown, they had a store in Japantown, and I was there every Friday. And Brian Flynn, who we also mentioned, is the one who single-handedly got me into Sofubi, because I bought something from him from eBay, and he said, you can just come pick it up. And I did, and I saw his vintage Sofubi collection, and I was hooked. So that started me. And the Marmot Vinyl Paradise, then I started to get into that. And then I didn't like that, so I kind of got rid of all those. And then Marmot came out with their Monster Heaven line, which was more of a realistic, less stylized, more realistic type of a figure for me, my sweet spot. So then it went to that, and then it just went crazy. I met Linda Conrad from Chibi Goji Toys. I would get stuff from her. And again, this is long before G-Fest. I even started to go to G-Fest and talk to you guys online. And then once I joined the X Plus group, I think I was number 3 in that group. That opened all the floodgates. I'm like, wait a minute, I can get a realistic figure that I don't have to build and paint. I can, you know, highlight and fix up a little bit. I don't have to do it. I just take it out of the box and put it on the shelf. So X Plus was my priority for many years. And then I started to get into the posters, the records, the vintage stuff, the lobby cards, etc., the chibi figures, gashapons, statues, and you know, the sky's the limit. And I think collectors who, I'm going to use James Hartman as an example. He is really uber focused on Marmot Desu Gojis, and he has acquired the most amazing. And I mean, you could even put Kyle in there. Kyle with his M1 GMKs. You know, that is a. But he also does other things too, so I can't use him as an example. But those people are lucky because they have a singular focus. My focus is scattered all over the place. There's so many things I like. However, it has to speak to me. I'm not getting it just because it says Godzilla on it, right? And I am very lucky that I don't love things from the MonsterVerse. At least I don't have to buy that stuff too. And but now
you don't want a Scar King?
No, I don't want a Scar King. No. But now the images, Kyle, that you're coming up with. Now I bought tons of stuff over the years, and this is a very small smattering of things that I have bought and sold over the years. I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but there was a time, and Kyle knows this better than anybody, when I used to buy anything and everything that was coming out that even remotely interested me. And all of a sudden, I know you've all been there, all of your invoices come in at once.
Yes.
And I would panic. It'd be like $1,000 at a pop. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I had to sell some things that I didn't really love. Although I do, now that I look at it, I do love a lot of the stuff that I sold in there. I mean, there's my Megaton is now living in Japan with Kyle, and I'm very happy about that. I have no regrets about that. But some of these things went to some of you in the, hopefully watching and stuff like that. But it was definitely something that I had to do, and to get to the next thing that I liked better. And now I'm at the point where I cannot justify selling anything because I'm in love with everything that I have for the most part. There are a few exceptions that we will talk about, and I will put up for sale when we do our live garage sale, which we'll talk about later. But this is, I had to pare this down. There was, how many images were there, Kyle? There was like 4 of these, and it's like, no, we have to do one. Okay, now this is one that I couldn't. I was no, listen, don't get upset. I sold it and I bought it back, and I think this is the same one. I think it's the exact same one because I sold it. I think I sold it to Sean Lincolnback, and I bought it from Sean Lincolnback. So the Pilot Ace Gigan. I didn't have a Gigan Sofubi. I'm like, which one if I could pick any Gigan Sofubi, I got to get that Pilot Ace back. So
it's so nice. I bought it twice.
So nice. I bought it twice, and I was lucky to get it again. So that's one. There's more. I only highlighted a few. Okay. I mean, all right. Now this one. This one's going to make everybody really sad. I bought this at G-Fest, I don't know, 2018, 2019, and he was beautiful, but he had a wonky wing. Like the majority of Pilot Ace King Ghidorah figures have a wonky wing. Now, Greg Benton has one of the few that has pristine, perfectly symmetrical wings. And every time I looked at this guy, it would bug me that he had a wonky wing. And I tried to, hair dryer, all of my tricks of the trade. Nothing would work. Finally, I sold it to our friend, James Hartman. And he's had it for a long time. And he said, I think I kind of wore him down a little bit to sell it back to me. And he actually brought it here to the desert, and I had it for a little bit, but we couldn't come up with a fair price. So he took it back. So he has it back. So it's gone again. So I sold it, I got it back, and now it's gone again. So, I mean, I didn't want to take advantage of him and insult his intelligence by what I was willing to pay for it, because it still had the wonky wing.
Say goodbye, girl.
No, and we couldn't come to terms. So he's still living in Orange County with James Hartman. So it is a regret.
At least he's close by.
He's close by, and maybe I'll find another one day, and maybe if the kaiju gods, kaiju collecting gods are smiling on all of us, they will reissue this figure in some point in the future. I'm not holding my breath, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't have any inside information, but I would really love that to happen. Okay, so next, what do we have next? Next we have, okay, another one. I don't know what I was thinking. I sold it in a bout of panic when I had this huge invoice, like one after the other coming at me. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I knew I could get a pretty penny for this guy. And I was right. I sold him, and then I got him back for probably about the same as I paid for him initially, which is really good.
That's pretty good.
Because
pretty good.
That toy graph, Godzilla with the exposed skull, is so unique and so interesting that I don't know what I was thinking. I just should have kept him in the first place, but I did get him back. All right, now what do we got next?
Oh, real quick, David.
Sure, go for it.
I also have that toy graph, but Devin Cordero has the brown version with the half skull. Have you seen that?
I have, and I don't like it nearly as much as the full skull, but it's better than if I had to have one, it would be this one. But if the other one was the only one available to me, I would take that too. Yeah, in addition, but this is the one for me, and I love the colors of it. I love everything about it.
Beautiful.
So next, I sold this exact one, the Varan Monster Heaven figure, this exact color spray, and I sold it. I don't know why. Somebody wanted it. It offered me a lot of money for it, and I regretted it because then I realized at where I'm at now, I want to have one representation, Sofubi representation of every kaiju, Showa kaiju, and I did not have a Varan. And I saw this on Mandarake, and he was very reasonably priced. So I snagged him right up. If you get on there at the right time, I shouldn't say this to everybody, get on there at the right time, you'll see they have some bargains. And I'm not going to give away all my secrets, so let's just leave it at that. But I'm really happy to have him back because I love Varan, not as much as Kyle, but I do love Varan. and I love the sculpt. I think it's one of the best Sofubi sculpts out there. And I love the pink color spray too. So I did get him back. And
that
then,
was it. This figure sculpt is a gateway for me, for sure.
Was this the gateway for you? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Sure,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, no, well, I wanted him back. And then this guy I had this guy, the same color spray, and again, invoices coming at me, and I'm like, what am I going to sell? And at the time, I wasn't really a huge Titanosaurus fan, but so I passed it on to the collector, and then I regretted it, and I found him again on Mandarake for a very reasonable price in this day and age. That's the Monster Heaven red spray with the closed tail, not the open tail, it's the closed tail version. And I think that might be it. Is that it?
Yep,
for me?
That's it. Yeah.
So let me just sum this up. So, like Leslie said, I'm slowing down big time. Okay, I don't have the space. We're both retired now. I don't have a lot of extra income. What I used to do, as many of you know, is I used to have a PayPal account dedicated to toy collecting, and I'd recycle, kind of like sell one, buy one, have the account. I used to have like a good amount of money in case something came along, but now I'm down to zero.
Wow.
And that's why I have to do I want to do the garage sale. That'll help out a little bit. But sorry, I got through it mostly. But my collection now, I'm pretty happy with it. It's in different locations of the house, which we talked about before. I've got some vintage pieces. I've got some nostalgic Bandai pieces with all the tags. I still love X Plus. I still love model kits. And I'm just really, really going to slow down. And like Leslie said, it's got to wow me, and it's got to be able to fit somewhere in my collection. I have to have a space for it, because that is now my conundrum. I do not have any more space. I really don't. And I don't want to put things on the floor, and I want to keep them in boxes. Mm-hmm. So that is how my collection has evolved over the years. And I'm pretty happy. I'm very grateful for all the pieces that I was able to acquire and all the pieces that I have now. So, and my voice is almost gone, so I'm going to pass it down to Greg. Benton.
Well, thank you, David. Thank you very much. You and Leslie touched on some really interesting and important points. Leslie's absolutely right, especially if you're a kid around our age. Like, just having Godzilla toys was unheard of. Yeah. So if you can have a room or a corner in your home where you can just, look at crap like that, then you're doing pretty good for yourself. And you shouldn't worry about what's coming out. You should appreciate what you have. Now, of course, with that being said, keep your eyes on everything, but yeah, Sergio Trejo in the chat mentioned that there was no Godzilla merchandise in Mexico in the 1980s.
Oh my God.
And so he created his own, which I think is really, really, really cool. And so I'll start right there in the 1980s. Even in America, Sergio, it was very limited. I had an Imperial Godzilla and I had a generic Imperial Kong. And then I remember I went to a Cost Plus Imports in probably 1989 or 1990. And I found this battery operated thing called the Big Rex. And it was about 30 centimeters tall, and it was a hard plastic. But boy, was this an 80s toy, because you literally put butane in his head and he would spit smoke out.
Yeah, I got that one. I had that one. Yeah.
It was good. Nice memory connection, Leslie.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Cool. Even though he didn't have dorsal spines, for me, that was my Godzilla for many years.
Yes.
And I moved around a lot as a kid by virtue of my dad's job, and then later my parents split up. And so a lot of the stuff from my childhood just doesn't exist anymore. It's just disappeared, and it's lost to time. So in the late 90s, I discovered Kyoto model kits, garage kits.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at that point, I was about 13 to 15 years old, and I was buying those things out of little advertisements you'd find in G-Fan magazine.
Yep.
And I bought a 95. I bought a 62. I bought a 64. I bought a 68. And so I actually my first Godzilla collectibles were actually kits. And I would love, I have no idea where those kits are these days, but I would love to look at them now and appreciate, number one, how well I did, but also like, oh, how probably rough they were. You know what I mean? But looking at them, from a different lens. And then in the 2000s, I was fortunate enough to live near a Japanese import store, and I got the best Bandai's ever produced, which were between 2002 and 2004, and they were in about the 15-inch scale, and it was like for Godzilla X Mechagodzilla, Tokyo SOS, and Final Wars, and I had those for the longest time, and I actually sold them to Jordan Twinning last year at G-Fest to sell at his table. And man, that was hard for me to do because I'd had those figures for 15 years or so at that point. But the second I saw an 8-year-old boy walking through the dealer's room with the Kaiser Ghidorah that was on my shelf for 15 years with the biggest Cheshire Cat grin on his face, I knew I made the right decision.
That's worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was like, that figure is in a better home now. And so I really didn't get serious into collecting until about 10 years ago, honestly. And it actually started with some of the posters that you see behind me. I'm a huge poster fan. And David talking about space, that's what I want to touch on with David. I don't have any more real estate for posters.
Yeah.
And I have a beautiful German Gigon poster. It's Frankenstein's Hellenbrut. I love that poster.
Is it the yellow one?
It's the yellow one.
That's one of the things I'm selling at my Kaiju, the original.
Yeah,
I don't have any room for it.
I don't have room for it, and it's not framed. And now I do have 3 posters that I will absolutely frame. I got a -1 poster from the theater last year.
Nice.
I got a Forbidden Planet poster from 1953.
Wow. Vintage.
And I got a Matango poster from 63.
Oh, Matango. I'm surprised that's not up already.
Right? Well, dude, framing is expensive.
You got to do the Spencer thing. Like you go on Spencer's and just have the posters, all.
Oh my God! Remember Spencer's? The black light. Oh, the black lights back there. Yep.
I remember the dancing pickle at Spencer's, and being 12 years old, like, why does somebody want a dancing pickle? And now I understand. So there's some pictures that we have here. I still have the collectibles I started with about 10 years ago. I went into a Toys R Us, and I vividly remember it. I was buying some toys for my daughter, who was about 2 years old at the time, so it's probably about 2014. And I found a NECA 1984, and I was blown away that this thing was on a peg at Toys R Us, an 84 figure. And so, yep, there it is. That is, I still have it in the blister case. So I have that NECA 84, and of course, look, they label it as an 85. I mean, it is what it is, but they're wrong. So, so knowing that was there, I did a little bit of research, and I found out that NECA was producing Godzilla figures, and so I got all of the NECA line, and then that got me into articulated. And I still have all of the NECAs. They're actually in my classroom. There they are.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the poster boxes look really cool on the shelves.
They do.
So, yeah. I'm thinking maybe I part with them this year, though, and put Sofubi on the shelves because I got a lot of Sofubi.
I'm for that.
I have a question for you, Greg.
Yeah.
I got a quick question. Like, how do your kids feel about your love for Godzilla? Like, do they respond favorably to it, or what's the deal with that?
Oh, they do. So it's fun because at the beginning of the year, it's pretty similar every year. My kids think I'm extremely cringy and embarrassing and weird in the first 2 months of school. But then after those 2 months, they realize I'm genuine and my love is something I wear on my sleeve. And they start just kind of jiving with me. And literally every year I've taught since I put the Godzilla stuff in my classroom, by about February or March, the kids are asking me, can we watch a Godzilla movie, Mr. Benton?
Oh, man.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
I have played in my classroom. I've played King Kong versus Godzilla. I've played Godzilla versus Destroyer in my classroom, and kids legit cried when Godzilla died.
Oh, wow. I love it.
And I played Matango in my classroom.
Oh, wow.
How'd they respond to that? That's a little bit obscure. How did they respond to that?
I'll do a really quick story. I had this girl named Michaela, And Michaela was kind of quiet, and she's kind of had a chip on her shoulder, and she's kind of tough. And I played Matango subtitled in my classroom. And about halfway through the movie, some of the kids were getting like really unruly, and they're kind of getting loud. And Michaela's sitting in the front, and she's dialed in. She turns around halfway through the movie, and she goes, "Shut up! I'm trying to watch the film." And everybody just went right down. And we watched the second half of Matango in pure silence. And I was like, "Thanks, Michaela. I appreciate that."
When you watch King Kong versus Godzilla at the very end, do those kids?
Oh, here we go.
Are they dysfunctional like John and believing their warped minds that it's a draw, or do they believe that King Kong won, or do you teach them wrong and say that Godzilla won? Which one is it?
I teach them correct, and the correct version is that Japan is Godzilla's territory, and so he drove Kong away from his territory, and Kong ran away from that fight because he's a little bitch.
That's what you asked him. You asked him.
Why are you on the show to do this?
So basically, you lied to them. What kind of teacher are you? That is awesome, man.
I did tell them the truth about Udako, that Tsuburaya wound up eating him. So.
Well, Greg, it's been lovely having you on the show. I don't think you'll ever be back. Just kidding.
I gotta come back. I gotta come back just to spar with Leslie. It's too much fun. It's too much fun. Real quick. So I'll try to wrap it up. So I got the articulated bug, and I started buying SH Monster Arts figures. And what I realized, and this might sound weird to some collectors, but there was no articulated figure of Musako Goji. And I happen to love that ugly pug from 1967.
Yes, you do.
And I started looking into it, and I realized the only so the X Plus has some wonderful Musako Gojis. And I started looking into it, and I figure out Sofubi's really the way to go if you want Musako Goji. True. And my very first Sofubi is the Marmot 1967, the green colorway. And I fell in love immediately. I got that from another collector, Greg Cordero, who is well known in the community. Yep. And so he sold me my very first Sofubi probably about 6 years ago. And as soon as I got that, not only did I realize I had a beautiful, beautiful 1967 figure in my hand, I realized two things. I needed to collect all monsters when it came to 1967. And then I needed to just dive headfirst into Sofubi. And I am a Sofubi freak. And, I've got my chonky, weird, stylized figures. And I love them. I just absolutely love them. So really the biggest evolution now going forward is just space. I've got a lot of stuff that I could probably post in the garage sale as well. I definitely think we need to talk about that because I would love to get in on that. And yeah, I've found my sweet spot with collecting. And similar to Leslie, I won't say I'll be out of the game in 5 years, but in 5 years, I will definitely have every single older piece that I'm hunting because there's very few left. Very, very, very few. If anybody has a Toygraph Matango, please, please, please. The Inoki form, the adult form, the final form. I need that. I need it.
That's good to put out in the universe because people will listen and they'll find one. And real quick before you head out, I want to show you. I don't know if you've ever seen this. This is my image. 67 Godzilla that I painted, and you don't see this very often.
And that kind of for me, that's the final frontier of 67s as kids.
And it comes with a Just Born Mino. Just Born, and I just had to show you this because you're such a fan, and I will leave you this in my will. This will go to you.
Well, David, I'll tell you what, I will leave you the non-Wonk Wing Pilot Ace Ghidorah in my will
if you go first. But I think at the rate I'm going long before you. But so that's whatever. But
if David and I die mysteriously, then Leslie gets the Sofubi.
Collect all mysteries.
Actually, this is
I got enough toilet paper. I'm good.
This is not even a joke. I have Kyle down as someone who's going to help Keith distribute, give away some and sell some stuff if I go first. So I don't know if he knows that or not, but he does now. He's in it.
We talked about it.
We talked about it, but you know, you never know. You never know. And anyway,
true.
that's morbid, and we're not talking about that. But I just wanted to show you that 67 because
That's
really
gorgeous.
special.
It's gorgeous. And the last thing I'll say about 67 before I pass it off to our next co-host is I love the film. It's not in my top 5 Godzilla films, but I love it. It's probably in my top 10 somewhere. The wire works and the marionettes in 67 are some of the best special effects I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if we're gonna hold up Godzilla films for good, bad, or ugly special effects, come at me with Son of Godzilla. Come at me.
Kumonga's awesome. Kumonga is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. That's awesome. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Jonathan. I've recently just become completely immersed in All Monsters Attack.
Me too.
I love it. I listen to the audio every night when I sleep. I just love it.
The soundtrack is
awesome.
Amazing.
So freaking underrated. So underrated.
So jazzy.
Criminally underrated. Criminally
Yes,
underrated.
it really is.
One of my favorite Godzilla films. Holy cow.
See, and that kind of reflects on my collecting journey, which I would describe with the old Roach Motel commercial saying, collectibles check in, but they don't check out.
See, I did not adopt that philosophy, and I should have.
And so oh, and hold it. And
what an analogy.
Hold it together, Leslie.
I'm trying to, bro.
So, Jonathan, I sent some images last minute. I'm going to share them on my iPad, but I don't know if you saw them in your email. My apologies. Oh, there you go. You the man. You the man. You are the man. Bless your heart.
Love that.
Oh, so good.
Man, that was last week. That was last week.
This is part of my collectible journey, and it just like David, because our paths are very similar.
Very similar. Very similar.
Dinosaurs. Jonathan, I have a picture of my first drawing that my dad saved for me of Godzilla when I drew a picture of Godzilla, and we love dinosaurs, and I wanted to be a toy maker. And it's a picture of Godzilla, and on the tail, like the dinosaurs, was the name of the dinosaur. So I put Godzilla on his name. And
man, that's awesome.
So that I did that. I think I was in kindergarten, maybe first grade when I drew that picture. And yeah, that's it. So I know I was already being influenced by Godzilla in the early 70s.
Can you make that bigger? There we go. Perfect.
It's hilarious.
Oh my God, that is the greatest thing ever.
My journey.
It looks like Telesdon, but that's all right.
Okay. So it started early, and my earliest memory, my first Godzilla collectible, I went to Playtown, not far from my home back in I don't know if it was 74, and I saw the Aurora model kits.
Yep.
And I wanted to have that for Christmas, and I remember having that. And it evolved over time. It started with Mattel, Shogun Godzilla, Godzilla Gang, Godzilla Game, Rodan in 1980, all this and so I had a small collection, but I loved every piece. It wasn't that much. I had the Marvel Godzilla comics, Fangoria in 79,
Fangoria, right.
You know, they were like my only news for Godzilla. And then came a place called Rocket Ships and Accessories. And I still have all my original collectibles, that one Godzilla Gang figure I loaned to my friend who never gave it back. Rocket Ship, that neon sign there. Yes, on South Street. In 1984, during the great Godzilla boom.
Oh, South Street. Yeah, I kind of remember that place.
Yes, across from Jim States. Oh my gosh, 1984. And this is where I found the Japanese books and Godzilla for the first time. And that's when my love with the Bandai figures came along. My first one was the Bandai Mechagodzilla. And so I just kept myself on display as a child in my little hutch. And then when this happened, everything changed. My Japanese Godzilla books started flowing, albums. It just grew. And I have a photo there from 1994, the eve before I went to Japan. Jonathan, scroll up maybe. That's Rocket Ships and Accessories. And I wanted that Bandai Jumbo Godzilla up in the top left corner. And I didn't get it until the 91, and I got the 88 version rather than the 84 version.
Yeah, I got the 88 too. I wanted the 84, but I got the 88. Yeah.
I finally got one a couple of years ago. That second picture Jonathan there. That's kind of my early. That's from around the rocket ships era when 91. This is the 91. That giant Bandai and that.
Can I ask you, John, how much you paid for that in 91? Because that's about when I bought mine. I bought mine about maybe a year before.
It was a toy shop in New Hope. And my parents got it for me for Christmas. I had stopped collecting.
So you don't know how much it was?
And it brought me. No, it was like it might have been like $100.
So I paid 150 for mine at Children of Paradise on Bleecker Street. And that was my first big figure. My first big purchase that I didn't like. I had to scrimp and save my money for, because that was the first one. But I love it.
And there's the model kit, the Tokusatsu collection model kit. I had. Oh, that was the growing of my Japanese Godzilla toy collection. And then the next picture down, Jonathan, bless you. That's right before I went to Japan in '94. That was like I was collecting. There was another shop called Japanimation and Comics 2. Stuff was coming in, my video cassettes, and I still have all of this stuff. But the interesting thing with the conundrum of my Godzilla collectible room is packed. But
really?
It stopped. And
wow.
Leslie,
Okay.
I will say, since you came, I can't tell you what has happened in that space. But I'm now.
Bro, you couldn't change your mind in there. That's how stuffy it was in there. You couldn't change your mind. You said it's bigger now? It's more stuff in there?
Oh, you wouldn't believe what's happened in that space.
Man, your mama's a saint. Your mama's a saint.
I had to work on my basement, and I have a ton of stuff in my base, boxes and boxes of, oh Lord.
Don't put God in it. Don't you put God in this. Don't put the Lord in this.
Here's where my collecting is going. Because I really don't sell anything, but it's evolved in this way. And it's always been, everything I have is tied to a story in my life and a memory and a nostalgia factor. I have my website because I want to recapture and share and journal down the stories behind my collectibles. Because for me, they always have a story about my life at some stage. And with that said, now everything to me is I'm like in a museum, and I got to curate, select, target exactly what I want, and there's always an important story tied with it. So I decided I'm about to rework my space, and I have 4 areas where my shelves, where my collectibles are. There's going to be one for just all my original collection from the beginning.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's an interesting idea.
My TV to go in the center underneath would be my old VCR. So it's going to just from the top to the bottom, just filled. My magazines is just going to look like a old Japanese store from the top to the bottom. The other wall will be just like a Godzilla timeline, decades, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up to the day of just.
You're gonna skip the MonsterVerse. You're gonna skip the MonsterVerse.
No. And then the other section is I have these cubes from IKEA, and it's going to be the Godzilla store, because they have those white cubes, and it's all my new stuff. And then the other section is going to be like a Godzilla history with the realistic Godzilla figures, from X Plus. So that's the way I'm handling it. And the idea is everything can't be on display, so it's going to get boxed up and go into the basement, secure, dry,
rotating collection.
Yes,
that's something that I have yet to master. I have yet to master that.
That is the way I have to approach it, and will approach it, because everything is dear to me in some way, and I want to tell the story and leave that behind.
It belongs in a museum.
So I'm having a little trouble with.
So do you.
With your comment, John, that just because of me personally, I can't say that everything in my collection has a story or a memory around it. Like some stuff I just bought online, and I don't put that in the category of something that Kyle got me, something that I picked up in Japan, something that G got me, something that, M1. There are several things that have a memory and a wonderful time in my life. But some of the stuff, I got to say, I like this X Plus, I'm just going to get it. It doesn't hold that special, like Marie Kondo. It doesn't bring me, I like looking at it, but it doesn't have that connection. That's some of the things that I sold. That was one of the reasons. But and again, they're getting less and less of those. Like for example, like I'm looking at some of these X Plus Godzillas. It's just like a wall of gray. It's like,
yes,
it's like, and now I understand your color thing, because now and again, Keith loves the colorful ones, and that's why some of it is like I have my tower of colorful sofubi in the hallway, right before you come in here, and then I've got my really expensive vintage pieces that I found really special. They're in the living room, so they're in a place of honor where people can see who don't necessarily make it into this particular space. So I just had to chime in because I don't have a fantastic memory attached to every piece that I have, and I wish I did. And I think that's what, from now on, that's what should happen. Like I'm looking at the -1 X Plus that just came out. That's special because the movie's so special. And again, it all goes back to the movies and the memories that I have of the movie and what I get when I look at these figures and I think of the movies and the first time I saw them. And that's what it's all about for me. And a lot of people, not right or wrong, will buy something that they've never even seen the movie because they think it looks cool. And that's totally fine and acceptable, but that's not how I operate. I can't do that. I can't just say,
I'll never do that. I'll never do that.
No, I know you never do, but there's a lot of collectors that do that. And they don't know what the movie's about. They don't know if they're going to like it. It's to me,
wasting money.
It's well, I mean, maybe not to them, and I'm not judging. I'm just talking about my whole journey. But anyway, sorry, I just totally usurped it. Go on.
No, and I'll wrap up. But maybe that's what's helped me. What keeps everything in my collection is because it has a memory tied to it. I'm usually out with my buddy, up and down the turnpike, going to conventions, and so everything is a memory. And when I buy a figure, it's just like tied to watching Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. So. Yep. Or it's something about it that captures something in my childhood. So it's always something about it when I get it. It's not just because it's a cool thing, but there's something there. Now, you said something about the X Plus. I probably have at least 30 X Plus figures that I don't really have don't need to have a place for anymore. I got them because they came out and I have a better incarnation of Godzilla, the representation. So I can let them go. And I don't shoot them. I don't take pictures of them.
Which one?
And I wouldn't want to do that, but they're taking spell. So they're the kind of things I'm going to pull, and I'm going to add a lot more color and a lot more, information. I'm going to put little placards with my things. I want it to be tied to my story.
That's great.
No one may care about that story, but when I look at it, I want to remember.
It doesn't matter. You care about it. It doesn't matter. And people will care about it because, like I said, many of us are on the same page. And especially you and I we're the same age and same part of the country. So our journeys are very, very similar. And I just think that's a great thing. And I can't wait till this all happens for you.
And I want to encourage everyone to remember what you're doing when you're collecting. And share it, write it down. Because when you get my age, you might want to piece your childhood and your collecting journey down. And that's why a lot of things I don't share on social media, because it just goes into the timeline and gone. So I blog about it regardless if anyone wants to read the blog or not. Because I want to remember. I want to pull those memories back that are tied to those collectibles and when I was collecting, because my life is tied to it since I was 4 or 5 years old. I'll stop there. But so there's a conundrum, but there's a way out of it. There's always a way out of the space. If you got to stow some things or let some things go, but we learn to value even more the things in our collection that are tied to our story.
And I hope people take that away from the people who watch, and because I know I'm listening to everybody talking, and it's really helping me in my journey. And again, no one can tell you what to do, but yourself. It's your own choice.
Yeah.
Who's that? What is that? Who's that?
Oh, this is just okay. Kyle has in the intro. I'm being interviewed on a day that 98 came out, and they came
that one. Okay.
And they did. So this was my collection. I just shared this because you could see how I had it displayed in 98 and how it was growing. But
Interesting.
That ADV poster brings back memories.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
I see the Godzilla Raids again, like Polish poster or something. That's pretty cool.
And watch this. I haven't seen that since 98 because it's in my basement.
Oh my God.
I've got stuff stowed away. That's how I found my Rodan box. because I had no idea it was down there. It was special to find it, and that's what I mean. Memories. It made me go back and remember 1980, one of the best Christmases that I remember. All the Empire Strikes Back toys I got, and my mom
yes,
got me the Rodan. On top of that, it was like epic Christmas, So, and Greg, with your posters, I would say I hate to sell. I wouldn't sell any of my posters. The few I have. Get portfolios that will stow them that you can open up and leave on the coffee table and share the story.
Ooh, that's a great
story
idea.
behind them.
That is a good
And
idea.
rotate them. Rotate them. I got a B2 poster frame and I have about 10 posters in it. And then every time I get a new one, I don't have wall space and I slide it in, rotate them.
Good idea.
2 months.
That was my third Bandai I ever got, and that's the only one I'm missing the tag. So if anybody has an extra tag for that, please let me know.
I just wanted to free him.
Oh, it's all. I have all my tags off, but they're in the plastic right in front of each figure. That's the only one I lost. I can't find it.
When I saw this, I melted. I was like, it was melted Mechagodzilla.
1983, wasn't it? Was that 83 or 84?
84 is when I got them. I don't know if it might have come out in 83.
I think it was 83. I think it was before. Anyway, cool.
I love it. Yeah, the memories. That's my first Bandai, and I took them over the 64 Bandai. I went back the next week and got that, but I was not leaving without Mechagodzilla. But that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Kyle, your time.
All right. Collection evolution. Well, I don't have a ton of stuff to share here, but let's just start with my humble beginnings. Very, very humble beginnings when I was a kid growing up. Similar to John, I had experiences walking into the toy store with my parents and seeing giant dinosaurs, which were essentially kaiju figures. I got the Shogun Warriors Rodan as a kid. I got Marucci from the Godzilla gang, which is I think an Ultra 7 monster. Anyway,
Jack. Marucci's from Jack.
Jack? Okay,
Yep,
yeah. So from Return of Ultraman.
Return of Ultraman,
So
yep.
I had no idea what any of that stuff was. And I didn't actually even clock it until my mom showed me Rodan as much later in life. We got it from a video rental store. Flash forward, and all of my toys from my childhood went away. We had garage sales. My parents were the kind of people to be like, you should sell all your toys at this garage sale for, a quarter a piece for your Star Wars figures.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I actually don't even remember how Rodan left my hemisphere, but
Mom, we used to own Dengar, Mom. Dengar.
Well, I did own Dengar, but when now let's go forward, not to the internet days yet, but when I moved to Japan 37 years ago with my family, when my dad got a job here, basically I was walking around Harajuku and Shibuya, and there's this toy shop called Kittyland that is there today.
Yep.
But back when I was there, Kittyland had no Godzilla stuff except for this model kit.
Oh, the Bandai, yep.
And I had just seen Godzilla 1985, and I was like, I want something from Godzilla. And so I built my first model kit of Godzilla. I had built model kits as a kid of other stuff, like I built a C-3PO kit. I built some army guys, a Stegosaurus, all of those styrene kits from back in the day. But that was sort of my very first Godzilla thing. Don't have that either. That I think got destroyed during one of the moves back to the States. So still not really part of a collection yet. And let's now fast forward to the internet. When I got the internet in 1995, 1996, I discovered people selling toys online. Got some of those Star Wars figures back that I wanted.
Wow.
I eventually found myself on Barry's Temple of Godzilla, which showcased all sorts of cool stuff, including toy advertisements and movies that I had no idea existed. And then the next thing I knew, eBay came into my periphery. So several years after I got on the internet, I was working at this company called cinemazone.com. And while I was there, we were starting to use eBay to sell stuff. and or to put up for auction. And I started using eBay, and this is like I know that when David was a kid, there was like nothing available for Godzilla stuff, and when I was a kid, nothing it seemed was available for Godzilla stuff. And even when I was first getting on eBay, you search Godzilla and there was less than 100 items on eBay back then. And now there's 110,000 Godzilla items on. I'm not even exaggerating. That is the number that I see on my screen right here when I search Godzilla on eBay. So I started getting stuff, and then this is when I was living in Portland, started acquiring more things. It really did start with like Trendmasters stuff. I got that stuff from like toy stores, which sort of rekindled my desire to have giant monster toys. From there, I was like, where can I get more of these monsters? Greg, you mentioned Kyoto kits. I think around 1999, Kyoto opened up a web store where you could actually buy stuff internationally. And I was like, whoa, model kits. I bought
I remember
like the 95 model
I remember
kit,
that.
the Batra Larva model kit, and maybe a couple others. But basically, I had a very small collection of stuff. And it wasn't until I started gathering it all together that I was like, oh yeah, I can like get some more of this stuff. And like eBay was a wonderful resource. Primarily I was getting Bandai figures, but what I was looking to get were the monsters and from the movies that I loved, less about like any kind of like completing any kind of like lineup or anything like that. It was mostly like, I love this movie, so I want to see this represented in my collection. And at the time, as far as soft vinyl toys go, Bandai was the most accurate representation of these
You're
things,
absolutely
unless
right.
you wanted to go into model
Garage
kits,
kit,
which even at the time, like in the 90s, in the early 2000s, still very expensive. And boy, oh boy, was I broke as a joke back then. I I look back on what I considered to be my collection in like 1998, 1999, and 2000. And there's, it grew as time went on, but like the way I displayed stuff, sorry, the room's empty right now, but today, I'm like very proud of my displays and very proud of like the furniture that I get. It's not like the most expensive furniture or anything like that, but it's like, I want it to look nice. I want it to look classy. And back in the day, I was buying those shelves that you get at the grocery store. That's just a big piece of like laminated wood and then the L brackets. And what I discovered is that if you get the small depth shelf, you can get the large L bracket, and then you have all this extra space for the tails.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
So I had in
you solved the conundrum.
Yeah,
that's one of them. Yeah.
You did.
So in my collection room, which was my home office, like I basically I started with a home office where I just had one shelf that was going around the room and just had like a lineup of mostly Bandai figures, a couple of model kits, and then I went from that house to a larger house where my home office was larger in the basement, and then I had two shelves going around the room, and like there are a couple of spots where like you couldn't put a shelf, so I put a poster up in between them, and I was like, that was the start of like when I was like, ooh, I'm arranging things the way I like. And that's like around 2004 when I did the film festival. So there actually should be a photo of me somewhere in the.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't. I'm surprised you don't have any photos. And wasn't this the time when you were doing Star Wars 2, Kyle? Wasn't that incorporated in this collection?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I had. Well, let's see. I think I still didn't have a lot of Star Wars stuff at the time because Tiger was a kid, right? So I wasn't buying a ton of stuff back in the day. I think 1998 me would like drop his jaw if he looked at what I'm doing these days.
Wow.
But
for sure.
I did have more stuff. Like I think when there was a certain point in my collecting journey, like after I moved into the house in Beaverton where I had that massive room, because in between that and the previous place, I had a small 2-bedroom apartment where one of the rooms I had my collection displayed in, again with those little shelves. And it wasn't until the Beaverton house, the big room, where I was like, I'm upgrading. I'm going to. We got an IKEA in Portland at the time, and so I got
Game
the
changer.
shelves, the
IKEA is a game
couch
changer.
shelves.
Yes,
I
indeed.
got the whole room was basically furnished by IKEA. I should have been sponsored. My God. Anyway, the that's when I really started hitting it hard. And then when I first got in that room, it was Godzilla, Star Wars, comic book stuff, Hellboy stuff. It was all mixed.
Oh, right.
in
You liked
together.
Hellboy too. Yeah.
Yeah, I still actually, of everything that I got rid of, which I got rid of all my Star Wars stuff.
Wow.
A couple of tiny examples here and there that I could pull out, but all of the Star Wars stuff is gone. All the comic book stuff is gone. The Hellboy collection was pared down, but I still have some stuff from Hellboy. But I just really decided like that room was going to be nothing but Godzilla, and so stopping to talk about displaying the collection, the stuff back when I was in a couple of houses previous. At one point, I did decide I want to get like. It went from I want representations of my favorite monsters to I want to get a representation of every monster in my collection.
Collect all
Back when
monsters,
it was
yes.
very difficult to do. You couldn't just do that by getting just Bandai figures.
No.
So I had
Branch
as
out.
many Bandai figures as I could get at the time, including what Greg was talking about earlier, all the stuff that came out in like 2000 to 2004. All that stuff, I got every release from them. But when it came to the older stuff, because I know a lot of people know that Bandai was only producing the new figures, and every once in a while they'd be like, look, Titanosaurus, look,
Yep.
it's a Mechagodzilla, and I would get those too. But when you're talking about like Varan and Mosugoji, I didn't like the Mosugoji from Bandai. I didn't think that was very screen accurate. In fact, when I looked at that and compared it to the Marmot Monster Heaven that had just come out,
Yeah, night
I was
and day.
like, whoa, the Marmot looks way more accurate to the screen than the Bandai. So I was like, all right, I'll spend $60 and get this Sofubi figure.
Can I
And those
spend
were my
$60 on marmots right now?
Dude,
No,
I know.
that would be the shipping.
my inner wallet brain is stuck in 2002, and like when I see Parababy figures, which used to sell for $25,
Exploded Parababies,
going
man.
for over $100, it makes my wallet brain angry. But basically, that was why I was getting those figures. I was like, oh, I can't get this figure from Bandai. I'll just get this Sofubi figure or a model kit. But mostly the Sofubi figures were like, oh, they're already there. Sometimes they're painted weird, and it started bothering me less and less as time went on. And then what really helped that out was all those theater exclusive figures from Bandai.
Yep.
I had them in front of a window so that when the light came in the window, they would all sort of light up in the room.
Awesome.
And that really did. I think that turned my brain into a direction where I was like, yes, I think soft vinyl
I like color.
would be kind of cool. And then now going back to the like moving into the getting stuff. Once I got into that big house with the big room, big giant collection room that David saw in person, that's when I said, I think I'm gonna stop collecting comic book stuff. I'm really just gonna focus on Godzilla, and I turned that entire room into nothing but Godzilla collectibles.
Yes, you did.
And when I got rid of the comic book stuff and put it into the guest room downstairs, all of a sudden that room opened up with lots of extra space. And then I was just able to be like, pop, 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 X plus, X plus, X plus. Here's a Marmot. Here's an M1. Here's this. And I'd like really packed that room full. And that room, if I had not, I've said this before, if I had not decided that I wanted to pursue moving to Japan, that room would have been probably the future of my evolution as a collector. But as you know, we got this opportunity to move to Japan. We ended up selling that house because it was way too big for just me and Lady Kyle. selling that house, getting a smaller place in Salem where, we broadcast the show from last year. And that was a very small collection room. So the evolution took a big hit. And the evolution was the majority of the stuff went into the garage, and only sort of like the cream of the crop was on display in Salem, which prepared me in a sense for moving to Japan. Because even though I do have my own room for a collection here in Japan, it's still not nearly as big as not even close to what I had back in the Beaverton house in the Portland area. That thing was huge. That was like 14 feet wide.
It was
probably
gigantic.
like 50 feet deep.
Wow.
Like huge room. And it was just like nothing but Godzilla. People would walk into that room and their eyes would pop out of their sockets. It was really rad.
Wow.
But
it's incredible.
Where I am right now, I know obviously you don't see anything right now, but I feel like where I have gotten to in a point of collecting, my evolution has pushed away my history and sort of like I'm embracing an aesthetic, I would say.
Absolutely.
And,
I can see that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm actually very happy with the way my collection looks, where it looked right before I took it down. And then we talked, I think, briefly during the Assessing the Avalanche of Awesomeness episode about how it's going to go for how do I see my collection growing in the next 5 years? And it is about slowing down. It is about being.
We're all at that point.
I think, and this is I'm not trying to brag or humble brag with this, but basically, because I'm not buying a ton of stuff, I can take a little more financial hit when it comes to something that I really want. And
that makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense.
Talk about Sofubi stuff, that Pachi Kaiju figure that has like all the different, like the Ghidorah necks and the Godzilla head.
That's on my list.
And all that stuff.
Yep.
Like I bought that brand new from the people selling it, and that was not cheap. That was a very expensive figure. And like, I was just able to do it because I'm not spending a ton of money on a bunch of little stuff all the time.
Because the volume has slowed down, you're able to sort of compensate for it.
Also, I'm very lucky that I live in Japan. I don't have to.
You have it right there at your fingertips.
The secondary market markup a lot of times, but I think in terms of like how things are going to go in the future is, even that volume that I'm currently at right now is still just going to trickle down quite a bit, and hopefully like over the next year you'll see some really awesome pieces come into my collection, but you'll also see, and as you all know, I sold 90% of my collection back in the day. Let's say 80% of the collection, when it was time to move, because it was about seizing the opportunity. And but when it came down to it, when I was like, well, what am I going to keep out of this and what am I going to sell? I did clutch on to 10 to 20% of what I had. And I was like, no, I'm not going to sell these, because either for financial reasons, like either it's something I love so much, or because it's something like that I love it and it would be very expensive to replace even here in Japan. So for me, like what I have right now really, really, really is sort of like the cream of the crop. I got a couple of little things here and there, of course, that are like just fun things. But for my future, I would definitely say that it's going to be an interesting future to see how it all shakes out in the long run. But that's how my collection has evolved over time. I still have so much love for the things that I got rid of even, but at the moment I'm loving the bright stuff. I have a small collection of like highly detailed figures, small, but they're focused, right? Like, so I have like some X Plus figures, but almost every X Plus figure I have is like, I have like Leslie hooked me up with the gigantic GMK, and that sits around the favorite sculptors line Ghidra, Baragon, and Mothra, right?
Yep.
And like Gomez and Litra, I have several versions of those. Like one from X Plus. Actually, I have a cool X Plus figure that's so fragile. It's like a Polystone Gomez figure. It's crazy. But anyway, yeah. So I got some stuff that I kept. So I didn't get rid of every X Plus figure. I didn't get rid of every Bandai figure because I kept a couple of them that meant something to me. Like the Burning Godzilla figure I kept the Jamila figure that Lady Kyle got me. You know, there's just like little things here and there that I did keep. But for the most part, the evolution of my collection is now into the very, very colorful stuff. In fact, last thing I'll say is like, if it doesn't pop, visually speaking, even if I love the sculpt, I'm having trouble justifying it. Akame Tenshi recently released his first two colorways of his sort of GMK sculpt, which David showed several months ago, and it is a badass sculpt.
It's badass.
But the very first one looks like it came off the movie screen. It's like black-ish with blue spines and silver, and it's like beautiful, but it didn't pop. And I'm like, that's just going to disappear in the collection compared to when I put it next 100%. To all the colorful stuff. And then the second one he came out with is a little cooler. It's got, I think, like a red base underneath. So there's some red shining through, but it's still not doing it for me. And at this point, I don't have any room for, especially like, even though I said I could take like a financial hit, those things are like $600 brand new American dollars, $600. And like, if I don't fall out head over heels in love with something that expensive, I'm not going to get it. Space Beast in the comments here asked if I was Rip City Kaiju. I am not Rip City Kaiju. I actually tried to sell my stuff to Rip City Kaiju because Rip City is a name for Portland. And he says this dude in Portland. I was like, hey, you should buy my stuff, dude. They have a whole massive things you could sell to people. But he was like, I don't have the money for that. So, actually, I sold. So Mark Peterson from Doc Tongues, I had that shop in Portland, bought my entire Bandai collection.
Wow.
I don't know how much
That's
of it
awesome.
he still has. But oh my gosh, Barry Kaufman from House of Monsters bought everything that was left over at the end, which was still about it was about $10,000 worth of stuff. So if you're shopping with Barry, like if you're shopping,
you may end up with a Kyle piece.
You may end up with a Kyle piece. Anyway, I didn't mean to talk so long. Sorry about that.
Oh, that was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had a great time chatting about the collection evolution. I think we need to wrap this up and say thank you all for hanging out and being here. Not wrap up the entire episode, wrap up the segment. Greg, John, Leslie, David, always awesome to hear your thoughts on these items and these subject matters. That said, though, we are moving along to our next segment, and that's going to be the collector moment. Mr. Jonathan Portman, you want to pop yourself up on screen?
Hi, Jonathan.
Jonathan! Woo! You're on mute right now. Don't forget to unmute yourself.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Good to be back.
Good to see you, sir.
Nice to see you as usual.
You know, I gotta say, great topic today. Really enjoyed it because this is probably one of my favorite subjects. If ever somebody says to me, "How did you get into Godzilla and what was your collecting journey like to start?" I'm like, "Well, let me tell you." It's like that Jim Carrey thing. He's like, you know, before he goes on his big spiel. That's basically what I love to do. So I loved listening to all your stories, and I loved looking at all the people in the chat with their stories. I will note one comment that we saw from Nathaniel Plummer. It's one of my favorite comments, and it states, "My favorite thing in your guys' collections is you guys. Thanks for the great content." And I tell you, thank you, Nathaniel, for being a viewer and for being a part of our group and everyone else here
Much
that's
appreciated.
watching, because without you guys, we would just be talking to ourselves. So we're not looking as crazy nowadays, but we're talking to you, our family. So thank you for being with us and enjoying this. And thank you, Greg, for pitching and coming as a guest. Co-host, you've been awesome. You've been amazing.
Thank
It's
you.
good to see your face, your beautiful face again. So without further ado, we're going to bring in the collector's moment. And unfortunately, we were supposed to have Ryan on, but Ryan has informed me that work has gone all too long. And so unfortunately, he won't be able to join us. That's okay, because I have all their photos that Nick and Ryan shared. So we are about to show them here. So without further ado, let's kick things off with a Kaiju Go Kaiju Hall Monster Hall from none other than Jakey himself, a good friend of the show and curator and owner of Toku Toy Town, which you should totally check out because they got
love Jakey.
Great deals.
Great friend of the show.
Great
deals
deals.
from that
Holy
guy.
cow, he has some cool stuff.
100%. And you know, we don't really show a lot of hauls, I noticed on these on the collector's moment. So I kind of wanted to showcase some more hauls from like shows that happened recently, especially Kaiju Go, because that happened last month. So I'm just happy that we get to show one. And I just love all the pieces in here. There's a lot of color. There's a lot of, I love the depth of field here. We got some really great stuff in here. The diamond gem in the back. That's one I'm really
that's
happy we
spectacular.
got.
That is spectacular.
So, yeah. So
It is.
I love this. Thank you, Jay. Always love seeing stuff from you.
We love Jay.
And from that, we are going to another great friend of the show, Mr. Greg Betters, with his Godzilla -1 from Super 7. It is a super figure. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken correctly, I believe Greg does his own little minor paint tweaks to these.
Really?
So
that is absolutely true. He did.
That looks like it to me, at least. That looks like he did a little work to it, and it looks incredible, even from afar. It just the face. I could just tell in the face and the eyes. You did something there, my friend, and it looks great. And I do love the packaging. I gotta say, Super 7, you're killing it with the packaging, just like Mondo. Your packaging is really, really awesome. I love the sort of pop art style, and of course, it's the iconic image from -1. So that's even better. So thank you, Greg, for showing off something that doesn't get highlighted that often. And from there, we get to the CCP Godzilla 2000. Kyle, you'll
looks
enjoy
familiar,
this.
Kyle.
It does. It does. Now, I am a huge fan of toy photography. I think people that do it are superbly talented, and they should keep doing it because I just love it. It's a different perspective. It's actually, for me, it's like more of an homage to, the miniature sets. And it's like, you're taking these items and yes, there we go, Kyle. There we go. I just love toy photography. I think people would do it. It's a great addition to our community. So thank you to Michael Fernandez for giving us the God of Destruction.
That's beautiful.
In this
Great
beautiful
background.
photo. And from there on, we will go to Nev Michael with CCP Color Rush.
Beautiful. Wow.
That's beautiful.
CCP Kaiju. The colors in this alone. I mean, my goodness.
Talk about color. Look at that 54. That's a beautiful 54.
The 54 is striking to me. I noticed right away the 54 and the Hedora, so I love that he has those on either side. It really pulls the color to the middle, especially with the Millennium there. So I love everything about all these. And thank you, Nev, for sharing this because it's quite striking. And next we go to Desu Gems, Desu Duo from Steven Sarnicki. Thank you, Steven. I love these figures. I have one myself. I have the OG, as Willard would say, or one of the OGs.
Yes, you do.
I love in the translucency. I love how you capture the translucency here with the glow. So, I mean, this is just great. I love seeing both of them side by side. So, thank you, Steven, for this.
Beautiful.
Enjoy seeing
Steven is a burning maniac.
Oh,
burning maniac.
Wow.
Ooh,
and so here we have the Sarajirishi Hellbeast.
Wyatt's a lucky lottery guy.
Lucky lottery guy. That's what we should call a lot of the people
lucky
who win
lottery
these
guy.
Lucky lottery guys. I love photos when you take them out into nature. That's what we love is when people take their figures with them to certain locations, whether you're going out to eat or out for a stroll, out for a hike. We love seeing that stuff. So thank you, Wyatt, for this photo. It's greatly appreciated. We love it. Oh, and here we go. Jacob Walsh. Here we go. The James Groman Godzilla is one of the greatest pieces that has ever come out.
Yes.
And it's quite fitting that John just showed it to us.
He showed the other version without the other
Showed the other version. Yep. Showed the other version.
And the box is huge and beautiful.
So Kaiju Gore from James Groman. courtesy of Jacob Walsh. Thank you, Jacob, for this.
Jacob's an awesome guy too.
Jacob's an awesome guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Blake.
And from there,
Matthew.
From there, we have as you can see, Greg's favorite thing here. We have a bunch of blanks, courtesy of Matthew Robert Macri, otherwise known as
Octeal.
And
King of Kaiju Cream.
That's
King
right.
of Kaiju Cream, King of what's going to be coming out. I believe Mondo had it announced. We saw it firsthand, David.
Yes, we did.
At Monsterpalooza, the Godzilla saucer. So
Yes,
thank you,
Godzilla saucer.
Matthew, for sharing these. I always love seeing, blanks don't really get shown that much, especially in like a whole conglomerate here. I love all the different variances here and colors.
It's like a box of
really
candy.
Great.
Yeah,
It does look like a box of candies. Ooh, it's beautiful.
Now,
I love it.
Jonathan, can I just say one thing real quick? So, Octeal Matthew is going to be coming to my house in October 24th. He's going to a wedding in Palm Springs, and he's going to spend the night with us. I'll do an interview with him.
Oh,
Nice.
wow!
So
There we go.
We will be having Matthew in the desert, so that should be really fun. And you're welcome to come down too if you're around. So, anyway.
And, no, that's a great bit of information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I might have to make a little trip myself. So from there, we're going to yes, I'm calling the Stang Gang, Sofubi Stang. We have from Corey Reichart. By the way, I'm actually mad at myself. I am mad that I missed out on the Lestang. I'm calling it the Lestang Ghidra, basically. But like I'm mad that I missed out on this, because when I saw this and that the lottery had passed and people were posting, I was like, okay, first of all, how did I miss out on that? It's amazing. And I needed a Lestang Godzilla in my collection at some point. So I just love looking at these. Great sculpt. Together, they're incredible. And I love the little accessories that come with too. So thank you, Corey.
Jealous, Corey. Jealous.
Yeah, indeed. Here we go. And that, my friends, is the collector's moment for September.
Fantastic.
Thank you very
done,
much.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan. And thank you all to the rest of our mods too. If you want to join the Collect All Monsters Monster Collectors group, which is of course where our collector moment is sourced from, please join it here and make sure to answer the questions for our rules and so forth, just so we know that you're serious about it.
And a human, not a bot. We don't want bots.
Collecting. Yeah. Now, I think that does wrap it up for this episode. Thank you guys all for being here. Greg, thank you so much for taking part and being our co-host.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
We are going to be doing this, sporadically over the next little while, asking some more people to come on and be a temporary co-host. So if you're interested in that, hit us up. We'll be, like I said, peppering in some people here and there throughout the next, I don't know.
Yeah, a couple
lifespan of the show, I guess I would say. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Once again, thanks to all the co-hosts for being here. Thanks to everybody who's watching. We still got 32 people hanging on, checking us out, both on Facebook and YouTube. And we are going to, of course, be back. We'll be back when we figure out how we're going to do the garage sale. I'm sure we're going to have some supplemental videos coming soon. And, I'm looking forward to our next episode, which will take place on October 12th.
Nice.
Which I don't have a banner for, but October 12th, Saturday, will be the next episode, regular episode of the show. And I guess it's time for me to say, until next time, our planet may be doomed, our Earth devastated, the monsters are in revolt, and civilization is in chaos. We must unite and
collect
monsters. All right, see you guys next time. Thank you.
Deuces.